Man, do I love that intro video. What's going on, Goglings and Gog peoples? It is good to see you. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the channel. I've been away at Gen Con and travels to and from, but it is wonderful to see all of you. Welcome to episode 338 of Pen and Pixels, our show which focuses on story and narrative. Oh my goodness, Wolfsoul just subscribed to Indie Hype. Thank you for the resub and the 46 months of support, Wolfsoul. Good to see you, and it is a pleasure to see everyone again. As I said, episode 338 of Pen and Pixels, as we continue with our Talisman Adventures campaign, sponsored as always by Pegasus Spiele. Thank you so much to Pegasus Spiele, and welcome everyone. I am your host, Arvin Elleron, and I am excited for this session today. I'm excited to have everyone back with us. It was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was exhausting. I was very tired because of both during the lead up to it, running it. I was co-coordinating the symposium, the writers portion of it, and then coming back from it and, all that kind of stuff. But we are getting to the point where we are starting to be recovered, basically, more or less recovered now. Just finishing up the last of the unpacking and catching up with stuff when I was gone. But it is wonderful to be back with folks today, and it is a good exhaustion. That's true. And thank you, Echo. Yes, it is my 19th wedding anniversary today. And so 19 years ago today, my wife and I were married in Lincoln, Massachusetts. And so my wife and I got to spend some time together this morning and afternoon, went out for lunch and all that. And that was really nice, and talked a little bit about how we're doing and where we are in the world and all that sort of thing, in good ways, obviously, but just sort of thinking about where we've come. So thank you, Echo. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, that was going on today. Thank you, Kilgore. Thank you, Pandora. But now the time has come for some Talisman adventures. Before we get there, just a couple of reminders about how to support us here on GOG.com. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to follow the channel. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe to us here on GOG.com's Twitch channel. You can get those DRM-free emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And it also, of course, supports our stream team, which is very much appreciated. And if you haven't already done so, please click through to our individual channels, because we have our own individual Patreons and subsystems and all that kind of good stuff as well. So that is the deal with us, and we've got a new adventure in our campaign tonight, which is exciting too. So I am very happy for all of that. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute myself and apologize unreservedly to anyone I may have interrupted in the middle of speaking. And it looks like, as I look over, I can't hear them yet, but I see Pyron frozen in place and everyone laughing. So apparently I interrupted them at the wrong time. I apologize unreservedly to our beloved stream team leader, Pyron Jade, but I'm going to swing over there now to reveal the crew, which lies before you. They are here. They are ready to go, and we are excited. You're ready for the TPK. Wow, Stalio. Look, this party has already proven its ability, its skill. They have leveled up to level 4, so they're level 4 now. I mean, geez, Stalio, you just assume.
Absolutely zero death checks the entire time.
Right, exactly. Under no circumstances was there ever a concern that they weren't going to make it. I mean,
there's a 1 in front of that 0, but absolutely zero death
There is
checks.
a 0 in the number. Anyway, it is a pleasure to see these folks, and I am going to reveal you and Stalio want more madness. You'll get madness. That I think I can promise you. But we will begin with the person, of course, right below. I apologize again, Pyron, for interrupting whatever awesome thing you were opining about as I did so. How are you doing? How is life in the universe with you? Do you wish to confess anything? We're here to support you if you wish to confess anything about a certain rectangular cardboard-based game that you may have been involved with recently. But how are you doing, and who are you playing today?
Hello, chat. My name is Pyron Jade, and I play Magic the Gathering.
Hi, Pyron.
Hi, Pyron.
So what happened is I used to play Magic around 96, 97 for a little bit, and then I sold off all my cards because I went to Venezuela for a year and wanted a little bit of spending money. Then again, I played a little bit in the early 2000s, and then I had kids and didn't play at all. And now my 10-year-old has started playing, and I was like, let me show you something. And I got out my old cards, got out my old giant deck, and smashed him. And so now he is playing, 4 of his friends are playing. The parents of one of the friends also now want to start playing. And I also started playing Magic Arena, which I'm really, really bad at. But I'm getting better. For them. Yeah, so I'm doing fine. Completely fine. There's nothing wrong with me.
You could stop at any time.
And tonight I'm playing Regina Augusta III, who is a little bit not really intimidated, I mean, by the second warrior or the team who somehow appeared, because she is very, very apparently the smarter warrior of the two, and that's why she got herself a book that about tactics, and she's reading it and occasionally hitting people with it or throwing it at people, but she is 100% sure it's going to make her a better warrior.
I am exceedingly excited to see how that actually plays out in practice. It's going to be great. I may or may not have encouraged Pyron to have Regina consider the aggressive adoption of tactics. I may or may not have done that, so I think that's part of it. But it is a pleasure to have Pyron with us. It is also a pleasure to have Darksaber 2K with us. Now, I'm curious about the shirt, Saber. What do we got going on with the shirt? I want to know.
I may have been roasting alive in a field all weekend listening to heavy metal.
Oh, the time has come. Was it that time of day again? Okay.
It was indeed.
So how was it?
That's not something you normally do.
It was
the hottest weather Britain's ever had in a big open field. And not great. So yeah.
How was the music?
The music was fantastic. Okay. Very fantastic. And then you realize things like I'm wearing boots and socks and I can feel my foot getting burnt.
I was thinking about all the leather jackets that must have been present there where you're like, not the time for this now. Really.
Those people, I don't know. Great fortitude or absolute mentalists, I don't know. But I was looking at a lot of people going, how?
They were just like, shut up, it's all for the inside.
Yeah, so but it was a very, very fun weekend. Yes, much good. And we had a nice secret band. Machine Head returned to the festival circuit after a very long time.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, they were in a tent. I managed 2 songs. It's like, I'm dying, and I had to leave.
That's one of those ones, but you're just like, I've been here for a long time. I'm leaving because I choose to, not because I.
Pardon me, I think I left the water on. And I'm going to go lie under it.
We actually saw, I wanted to mention that on the way back from Gen Con, we got to see Earth, Wind, and Fire, actually, playing at Tanglewood. And they were good. Like, they were really good. And one of the guy's sons is playing in the band as one of the vocalists, because they're like, yeah, my dad who was one of the original founders 50 years ago, and I just immediately crumbled into dust. I'm just like, right, that's because it's not like that was before, in fairness to me, that was before my time also. But like, Earth, Wind, and Fire, like September and your Shooting Star and all this stuff. So anyway, it was great, but it was one of those ones where I was just like, wow, I can't time. What is time? Anyway, sorry, my apologies. It just reminded me. That was great. So when you're not roasting in a field, what are you playing on our campaign, Saber?
I will be once again returning as Reginald Shuan, Ghoul Druid of the Realm, with his ghost dog Boots, who I've actually bothered to read up the rules for how followers work.
Yeah, I was going to say, please do, because I was going to say, we want to make sure we're getting Boots his fair due, yes.
Yes, for example, I found out he could have been very useful when I was getting pummeled in psychic combat in the Swamp of Despair.
Yes.
He could have saved my bacon a couple of times there, being a spirit dog. So hopefully I'll remember to make more use of him. As a result of his travels, Reginald has now become green wise, granting him a bonus die to notice and survival checks whenever he's not in a settlement, desert, or underground. So as long as I'm not in any of those 3 places, I get a bonus die to
Welcome to Underground Desert Settlementville. God damn it.
Every time. Yep, that is exactly why it takes me ages to level things up, because I'm like, but what if the entire campaign is the opposite of what I need for this? Yeah. So, so we'll be seeing how he gets to. I imagine he spent a lot of the downtime getting his bits reattached after the last fight.
Yes, and in fact, I'm going to be, when we start today, I'm going to take a minute to ask, so folks can be thinking about this, what exactly their characters have been doing during this downtime in between, because it'll tie into what we do afterwards.
Yes, so I do definitely have a thing for that.
Very awesome. Also, you are now able to cast, did I hear correctly, you're now able to do intermediate spells?
I don't gain anyway because of the way the spell system works in the game, but I can now transcribe them into my spell book if I find someone who can train me with them or find any scrolls that happen to have them. I also still remember I've got a couple of items that we were going to look into in the next session.
Oh, that's right. Yes, indeed, right.
I have the notes right here.
Looks at notes. Yes. Yeah, that's fine. I will double check on that in just a moment. But lovely, always a pleasure. Thank you as well, Saber, for as always the mechanical stuff of dashboard and Moobot and stuff while I'm prepping. It really does help. So thank you. Moving right on down the line, we have the amazing and awesome Peripheral Mike. Who now? Let me double check this shirt. We've got Coheed Cambria. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this is one of my new favorite shows. This is a create your own adventure style cover art based on the prog rock band Coheed and Cambria, which includes over 20 different endings to choose from. It says in small text here.
That's really cool.
It has a character that looks a little bit like Urash on it as well, to be honest with you.
It does. See, now, and people wonder why I play in a progressive band. It's because only progressive bands do cool stuff like that. Like, when's the last time you heard a pop band being like, let's do a choose your own adventure cover? No, they're just like, oh, let's do a picture of one of the band members. No, choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I saw this. I had to get it. I was just like, it's Coheed and Cambria, which I love. I've listened to them a lot over the years and seen them live a number of times. And the second, because I thought it was a cool design anyway, and then I saw it was like over 20 different endings to choose from in this create your own adventure, and I'm like, purchase. Buy. Yeah,
when we were leaving Gen Con, one of the shirts that I ended up getting was a shirt that had on the front the Screaming Eels convention, and then on the back was every conceivable map listing from The Princess Bride. So it has like the Mountains of Despair, and I was like, yes, clearly we must buy that.
You have to have that.
And they're like, okay, so let me look up the price. I'm like, done. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
It's fine.
10,000, fine. I will mortgage my house.
As long as
Give
it's
me the
not
shirt.
like 3 or 4 figures. Like you can have anything I have.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking this shirt.
Exactly. No, I'm glad you like the shirt. How you doing, Mike? How's everything? And who are you playing today?
Yeah, I'm all right. As I've alluded to on social media, depression has hit me quite hard over the last few weeks, which has been a bit of a nightmare. But in the sense and spirit of being a bit more open and normalizing talking about mental health issues, it's been shit. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's been a bit of a rough dip, but obviously my family's been there, my friends have been there, I've had a good support network, and I'm in therapy as well, which is also helpful. So I know it's a journey, and not, it's every day is going to be different. So I'm much better than I was. And I know some members of the community, some members of the stream team, some members of people I haven't spoken to in years, just reached out every now and then. They're just like, hey, so saw this, are you all right? You don't normally just vanish off social media for a while. But yeah, I'm not quite back on social media yet, just because I'm trying to just stabilize myself. But things like this, like you said just beforehand, if anyone's been having a tough time recently, scenarios like this will be incredibly helpful for them. So I'm looking forward to just getting into the skin of Lump for the next few hours and just enjoying it. Speaking of which, 2 things. Firstly, I am playing as Lump. I've forgotten what he is already. He is a world walking troll warrior. So he's been about a bit of a sort, doing some odd jobs here and there for people and just basically making his own way through until he met this band of wonderful adventurers. He's known Bruce's character for quite a long time. They've helped each other through a couple of scrapes in the past, more of which I'm sure will be revealed at a later date. But now he's just kind of with them, and he's enjoying being with them. So he's sticking with them for the time being. The second order of business is that based on community feedback, I have stocked up some designs for Lump on a t-shirt, and that shirt is now available on my Stream Elements store that I'll stick in chat in a second. And it's basically a pose of Lump, and it says, I'm a pacifist. Any problems, I pass a fist.
Oh, outstanding. Yes, please for to give link immediately.
That's it. I will stick it in chat in 2 seconds. That's all for me.
That's good. Thanks, Mike. Always a pleasure. That's awesome. And last but certainly not least, the question went out before we began as to how many amazing dogs Undeveloped Bruce is up to now. And we're led to understand that although it remains one, there are potentials for more that may exist in the future. So I guess the question is, do we have a maximum to which you will level up your dog gaining? I guess, Bruce, is the question. Like, is there an upper limit where you're like, I don't want to go above this number of dogs? How do you feel about the dogs in your future? And also, how are you doing and who are you playing today?
Yeah, sorry. I don't really understand this concept of would you say maximum number
Yeah, I'm sorry.
of
It's
dogs?
yeah, no, that's unfair of me. That's true.
I
True.
don't understand the question,
Yeah, that's true. No upper limit. Yeah, what am I even thinking? Of course.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Bruce. What have I been up to? Oh, I've been mega stressed. I work in a company with 3 tech teams. We have 2 people of my role, which is QA. So I've been straddling 2 teams. We just found out today that the QA on the 3rd team is resigning. So I'm going to straddle 3 teams. I'm going to grow an extra leg.
Oh no.
No, it should be fine. We've got another one starting in 3 months. So we're all good. Yeah, so I am super duper chipper today. It's not like I was already struggling with 2 teams.
Oh no.
I'm
so sorry to
know,
hear that.
I figure, I should try and keep my dog numbers up with team numbers. So I'm trying to get up to the 2nd team. So I've got 2 dogs, 1 for each team. And now it's like, it's out of my hands. I've got to get a 3rd, don't I?
That's true. Is there a way that you could start sucking at your job somewhat so that you aren't offered these extra teams because of your obvious competence? Is that something that could happen?
That would hurt my pride too.
Well, okay, but
I think there is a certain element of like, the more that you do, the more that you are just inevitably going to suck. So I think I'm already sucking at my job
great.
a lot more than I was before, and they understand that if I'm asked to do any more, I will suck exponentially.
There's a point of diminishing returns there, isn't there? Like the more teams you have to straddle, so to speak, then the less effort you're going to be able to put into all of them. I've been in exactly the same.
You laugh, but there is someone somewhere doing this equation on a blackboard someplace, and they're just like, wait a minute, the extra suck times squared is the... Yeah, so anyway, I'm sorry to hear that. But here you're with 1 team, though. Who do you play on this 1 team, Bruce?
So I play Chwedl Weds Cragman. He is a dwarven minstrel from the Crags. And he loves to play a Cruth. Funny thing about Cruth actually is it's a type of bowed lyre that plays chords, but some people you won't understand this, you won't get this.
No, I won't get it at all. Certainly not.
But some people often mistake it for a lute. Can you believe a lute? Anyway, I don't bring it up often.
No more than once per stream.
Yep. And Chwedl decided that, having gone down to almost half health in the last campaign, he got way too close to death. So he has taken some extra life as his special ability, now has 5 more life than he had before. So he feels a bit more secure now.
Very exciting. I thought it was a banjo. Thanks, Arudinel. Someone's got my back. See, Art didn't get it as wrong. It is a great pleasure to have Bruce with us. And actually, if you don't mind, Bruce, I'm actually going to stick with you for a moment then, because I had asked everyone whether they could think a little bit about what their character is doing for downtime. So if you could tell me your total life situation now is, are we looking at 28 out of 28 life? Is that accurate?
No, because we leveled up, so I got +2 as well. So I'm on 30 now.
Oh, 30. That's right. Okay, so 30 out of 30 life. Okay, and then the same amount of maximum of. I don't actually remember whether we increase maximum of light fate or not when leveling. I don't think.
Yeah, you do to level 4. You get a maximum of 6, but people with that special ability, Fate Smile, are on 7, such as myself.
Okay, right.
So I'm on 2 out of 7.
2 out of 7. Okay. You have now. What about spell points? What are we looking at for that?
I haven't used any. I haven't reset them since the last campaign, but I'm assuming we've rested.
Yes.
5 out of 5.
Okay. And then we don't have to worry
And
about
I increased my resolve to 6, but my craft remains at 5.
Okay, so right. Okay, good. Just marking these down. Lovely. What were you doing, Chwedl, during the downtime as you were, building up your health, becoming tougher, etc.? What sorts of things would you think you have been doing whilst you and your party were resting after your last adventure and preparing for the next one?
Well, that's an interesting question you're asking now about what I've been up to recently. So what I was doing, I was thinking, gosh, I got to get really tough now, So I decided that I had to learn to play my cruth in some really tough situations. So I've been training relentlessly, singing songs, writing songs, playing my cruth in all sorts of places, Sometimes when I'm really, really so drunk, I shouldn't even be able to stand up anymore, somehow just powering through, still drinking, still singing. I've really upped my stamina a lot, I think, and gotten really tough, mainly from the drinking.
Mostly from the drinking. I was wondering what actually did the final work in that. Okay, fair enough. And that's good because that is, we're going to be beginning actually in a, not in a tavern, but related to a tavern. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So that's very cool. Let me then move up to ask Lump. First of all, give me your new updated statistics and so on, if you would. And then also, please let me know what other stuff, just remind everybody again what it is that you got as you leveled to level 4. And then we'll talk about what you've been doing in this last
absolutely.
Last time.
So for level 4, I gained some more life. So
Okay.
I'm now at 27 out of 27.
Okay.
I gained an aspect. So I'm going to increase my metal to 4 rather than 3.
Okay.
This does not change my attribute of strength because that's a very confusing thing when that happens. I don't gain a skill or a focus. I do gain a special ability, more on that in a moment. And I do now have a maximum light fate of 6. I am one of the few who don't have Fate Smile, so I only have a maximum of 6, and I only start each session with 1 light fate.
1 out of 6 light
On
fate.
the special abilities front, Lump is leaning in with the fight with the sorceress last time. He realized that he charged headlong into battle quite effortlessly. So whenever a situation has arisen where he can be a bit more physical, he is just throwing caution to the wind and going headlong into the fray. So I have taken Heedless as the warrior's advanced special ability. More on that when we get into combat. I don't want to give away too many secrets.
Actually into combat.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it sort of sets up as kind of like, well, I realized after throwing myself into combat that I don't know, but then it's like, well, throwing myself into combat, I realized I should throw myself into combat more often, heedless of danger.
Like to think, I like to think that now he's sort of stuck with a group for a while. He's like, oh, not everyone does this. Like, not everyone just throws themselves bodily into combat. Like, we've got people who stick back. We've got people who like to try and decide what the best plan is. And it's just like fists.
Yeah, exactly.
Just constantly. So that's been his tactics. And now he's like, oh, that's not a thing. So I'll lean into that a little bit. In regards to what he's been up to, mainly manual labor. He has been helping people wherever they are at the moment. I believe, if I look at my map, I believe we were in Greymist. Not Greymist.
No, you were in the village of past the Grey Swamp
Yes.
to Fishkill. I went through like.
Yes.
Hold on. I'll find it. I literally, it's been 2 months, chat. Since
It has.
we
No,
played.
it really has.
So
it's been a while, and I should have better notes as well, to be honest with you.
No, it's I should have. Just give me a second. You've been in the place where it smells fishy and
Yes, the fish village where we took Sebastian.
Fishberg.
Corpse.
That's it. That's what it was.
Fishberg,
It's
that
like
was
not
it.
Fishkill, Fishberg. Yeah.
Not Fishkill, Fishberg. So Fishberg. Basically, if we are still in Fishberg, then what he's essentially been doing is just helping people out, carrying boxes, helping people move, building houses, that sort of thing, and just generally anywhere where there's a coin or half a coin to be made because he is big, strong, and heavy, and he can lift something or hold something. That's what he's been doing.
Awesome. Okay, so has been involved in training. Has there ever been any crossover during this time between Huddle's version of toughening up and Lump's version of toughening up?
I like to think that there's been a couple of moments where Weds may have asked, like, I need to be put into dangerous situations, and Lump just starts hurling barrels or boulders or something.
Right.
And
It's like the Clouseau thing. Not right now. Not now. Yeah.
Not that dangerous. Jeez, you can take my head off.
Awesome.
That is exactly what happened.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's pretty awesome. The training montages just write themselves. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Mike. I am very happy to hear how Lump is doing. We're going to find out more about Lump in a moment. That brings us up to Reginald. So, Reginald, what things have your druid, besides taking care of your graveyard, of course? It's not going to take care of itself. But besides that, what things have your ghoul been up to? And what are the new things now at level 4? I know you just talked about them briefly, but anything else in terms of like life points and all that kind of stuff we need to know about?
Well, as a result of once again going down during a fight, he's found his resolve has once again increased, going up to 6,
Yep.
But not changing his craft. As a result of that, his new life points are 19.
Okay.
No change to his spell points.
Okay.
And he's on 2 out of 7 light fate. And yeah, as a result of his travels, he now finds himself more attuned to just the world away from the city and the graveyard, meaning that he is better able to see things that other people might not notice when you're not underground or in a
Lovely.
town.
That's right. Which
And will have, yeah, and he will have spent his downtime. He wanted to get this wand and damaged witch robe looked at least, if not possibly repaired, and probably pestering the only magic user we know of in town if she knows any sort of higher level magics he might be able to copy into his spell book.
Yes. And let's talk about those two things. The wand. So we had the broken wand, and then we.
I don't know if the wand was damaged. I only had the robe marked as damaged, but I might have missed that.
Let's see. No, I think you're right. I think it's just the robe which was damaged, and then the wand. So, let's see. Right. So the as it turns out, the robe is basically what the robe does is it provides a benefit. So these two things are kind of linked in the following way.
Okay.
What you've been able to discover is that the robe actually will give you a benefit to your life total. It essentially adds several points of life. And the way the wand works is that the wand actually will help repair the robe. But there is a but to that, which is that eventually when the wand runs out of charges, then the robe can, at least at the moment, no longer will be able to be repaired going forward after that. In the meantime, though, it means that you will get 2 additional life points to your total as long as you're wearing that robe cloak thing. Which means I'm assuming you're going to want to wear that unless someone else wants to wear it, of course. It is, roughly speaking, ghoul druid sized. So if you were,
convenient.
Yeah, so if you were going to wear that...
the other party members are troll-sized, sprite-sized, and dwarf-sized.
Exactly, so it happens to be ghoul-sized. So assuming the party is okay with this, then that would mean that you would have 19 life and then 2 out of 2 for your robe. Now, the problem is you have not been able to ascertain how many charges the wand has. So when the robe gets torn up and you're like, normally you would use it like to repair it like armor, but it doesn't work that way. It gets repaired with the wand. The wand, though, every time you use a single charge, it will repair both life points on the robe. But for how long? And when it's done, the wand is apparently just going to splinter and will no longer be useful. So
Okay. So a function sounds like a bit like temp HP in 5th edition or D&D.
I would say, although it definitely is actual life points for the purposes of everything, like as long as you're continuing to wear it.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm actually going to mark that down. 2 out of 2 life for the cloak. For cloak, wand has, and I'm going to list the number of. I'm putting a big note.
1 life point, and then someone nicked his cloak off him. Would he die?
The cloak
like
is
where this is
always
going.
affected first.
We
So
can
the
find
cloak, those are the first 2 life points to go are always the cloak. So that would never happen. But it's very tempting to think about what would it like. Well, he tore off your arm, so it's only. But that it literally says in the rules, and I'm sure that's why the cloak is always the first points to go, because they don't want to get into that. They're just kind of like, I don't. So okay, I put a big note to myself also about how many charges the wand has, and then in all caps, this is secret, because I can see myself 4 months down the line being like, oh, you've got blah 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 charges, and be like, ah, crap. So
Oh, no.
anyway, so 19 out of 19 life, 2 out of 2 life for your cloak. Incidentally, if you're curious, the cloak is more popularly known as a peddler's cloak, because it is a dangerous business to be able to take merchandise from one place to another. And so this was one of many common magical items that were allegedly created to protect merchants on the road. So we're talking a peddler's cloak.
Speaking of on the road, did we get any sort of financial reward for the quest we did?
I believe you did. And let me just go back and check and see what the notes were. There was a lot of gratitude from Morris and Company. Let's see.
Morris, that was his name. Thank you.
It wasn't a tremendous amount.
Hey man, gold is gold.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying it might be less than you thought, so you had noted it down. It's like, oh.
Okay, so let's see. Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't think they gave you. Okay, let me just be clear about this. So we had at the end of this was you had saved Morris, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So as a matter of fact, yeah, you were not given money. What you were given from them actually was the Briar Rose itself. And that's important because that's actually got some significant qualities to it. So here's the thing about the Briar Rose, and if I've mentioned it before, I apologize, but otherwise, so important. The Briar Rose is a flower that will bloom as long as someone cares for it and offers it sufficient sunlight and occasionally places it in water, but it does not need to be planted. But the special qualities are this. The Briar Rose has 7 petals. Each one of those petals can be used to give the bearer a +2 bonus to a death test. And each use causes one of the petals to wither and fall away. When the last petal is used, the stem dissolves to dust, which almost happened to our good friend Morris back there before you saved them. But when you saved Morris, interestingly, remember there was only 1 petal remaining. When you saved Morris, 7 more petals appeared on the flower, which suggests that it's based on the bearer, not on the flower. That like the person who has the flower can use it, and if they use it up, it's destroyed. But if not, then the next wielder gets 7 petals again. The other benefit is that you get a +1 to all fortitude metal tests, not metal as in metal in a field, that's too hot, but metal tests while carried. You get +1 to all fortitude metal tests while carried. It is worth probably somewhere in the order of 150 gold if you were just to sell it as is, but if you use it, every petal that's lost, you're going to lose probably 10 gold pieces off of that value. If I were you, I wouldn't be selling a flower that does all that, though. I would be holding on to that bad boy. And it's up to you as to which one of the 4 of you wishes to carry it. But that's the treasure given, and that's kind of pretty good. So
I'm
I was
pretty
gonna say,
sure we said Reginald was holding on to that.
I think that was decided based on all the death checks.
that you were going to be
Well,
doing
not
that.
just also the fact that we all just went, oh, a flower.
I'm
are
like,
Mr. Druid.
I'm
You
like,
are.
special flower.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if
that-
I can,
yeah, go
if I
ahead,
can
yeah,
just
go ahead.
clarify. So
Sure.
we have so Reginald has received a magical rose, but there has been no financial recompense. for
Nope,
the
but I
deal.
have one other bit of good news for you, Lump, which is that
Okay.
although you did not get financial recompense, you did get an offer of, because I remembered we didn't have a chance to talk about the treasure because we just wrapped the adventure in last time. You also got, each one of you, a personally made potion from Zara, who is the witch that ultimately saved Morris and lifted the curse. And the potions are as follows. Each of you can choose from a cure disease elixir, a cure poison elixir, a strength potion, a psychic potion, or a flight potion. Each of you gets to choose that. Now, in case you're curious about what that means, I am happy to look in Chapter 6 of the guide where it will tell us where that happens. For Cure Disease, the Cure Disease Elixir immediately negates the effects of any disease. Cure Poison immediately negates the effects of all poisons affecting a character. The Flight Potion allows you to fly at your normal speed for 1 hour. You get a sensation of heaviness 1 minute before the potion's effects end, which should give you enough time to land. If you don't land when the effects expire, well, then you hit the earth rather more hard than you should. A Strength Potion grants you +2 damage on physical attacks and a +2 bonus to strength when lifting or moving objects. Potion's effects last for 2d6 rounds. And last, the Psychic Potion, the Psychic Power is what it should be called, Potions of Psychic Power. Drinking this potion grants +2 damage on psychic attacks, +2 bonus to any craft-related tests, and that potion's effects last for 2d6 rounds.
Which one works against hangovers, poison or disease?
Probably more poison, I would say. Also,
Poison.
just as a reminder, you could sell those potions if you wanted gold. So just letting you know, Lump, you didn't get gold, but you did get some treasure.
Well, for the record, I'm definitely taking the potion of psychic power.
Yeah, it sounds up your alley.
But we didn't get gold, correct?
No, not as such.
Okay. So as my first action for the new campaign, I'm going to knock Morris out, put it back on the donkey, and head back to Grey Mist. I'm returning this package from whence it came. They won't pay postage.
Return to sender.
Is one of the potions worth more money than the others?
Let's see. Potion of Psychic Power, yes. Psychic Power and Strength Potions are each worth 15. The Flight Potion is worth 15. And the Cure Disease and Poison Elixirs are each worth 10. So the Psychic, Strength, and Flight are all worth 15, and the Poison and Disease are each worth 10. I figured you'd be all over the Flight Potion, Regina. I mean, that totally helps you in every way. You finally know the power of flight, and yeah.
I mean, if I could put this on my equipment so it just floats after me, that would be nice.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, it's not exactly how that works. So, okay, Reginald is taking the Psychic Potion. What about Lump, Weddle, and Regina before I move on to ask about what Regina's been doing? What do you folks think in terms of potions that you'd like?
Right, I'm going to wait for Wed's decision.
I couldn't find the right tab to unmute myself. Not going for the gold. I'll have a poison elixir, please.
All
I
right.
just know at some point some other minstrel who is threatened by my amazing talents and abilities is going to try and poison me and take me out of the scene, take out the competition.
Yep.
Well, I'm not having it.
Yep. Well said. Good protection against jealous rivals, for sure. Okay, that leads Regina and Lump.
Yeah, I take the one against hangovers. I take the poison, cure poison one.
Okay. Lump, what about you?
So what's left? We've got the strength and the flight.
Oh no, you can
Disease.
each get you can get the same. You don't have to get different ones.
Oh wow, there's a whole. You mean there's backstock of these?
Yes.
Wow, oh my god, she's been busy. Can you tell me what the flight one does again?
The
It's
Flight
idea of a
Potion,
flying
troll. It allows you to fly at your normal speed for 1 hour. You get a sensation of heaviness 1 minute before the potion's effects end, which should give you enough time to land. And if you do not or cannot land when the effects expire, you take falling damage based on your altitude at that time.
Just 1 hour. I get to fly for an hour.
Exactly.
Taking the potion of flight.
All right, that sounds good. I was about to sing I Believe I Can Fly, and then I remembered it was by R. Kelly, who I think doesn't need any more help like now. So let's just give that a pass. So instead, we'll just do the classic Learning to Fly, either by Pink Floyd or Tom Petty. Those are both good songs. Okay. The troll intruding on my skill set. All right, so now we have the potions. Reginald, sounds good about the stuff. So you said you were finding out about the cloak and the wand, and anything else in particular in terms of where you've been hanging out during this time?
Yes, Reginald's trying to find someone who can teach him or provide him with a book where he may be able to learn an intermediate spell or two, depending on availability.
Oh.
Or 5. I mean, I have a list.
I have a list of those. All right, I'll come back to that. I will talk about that in a moment. So last but certainly not least, Regina. So let's talk about what you have learned for yourself and also your life totals and all that kind of stuff and what you've been doing during this downtime of a few weeks.
So Regina is still missing their friends, Muriel. And Muriel always had a thing with books. And Regina is maybe really, really pining for that. So she got herself a book about tactics. Because she's 100% sure this is going to help for future fights now that she doesn't have Muriel anymore to ask for advice. And so she got her book, got a smaller book, maybe, or maybe like a little bit smaller at least, from a famous tactician.
Mm-hmm.
And she's now carrying that everywhere and sitting on it and reading it and maybe even, I don't know, understanding parts of it. So I got the new Skull Tactician, which is a little bit complicated, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I also, I did a really intelligent thing. I just saved the character sheet after our last session, which only had the reduced life point value on it. So I tried to recalculate my life points today, and I think I have 27.
Okay, that sounds, I think that connects with what I had, would have after the level up. And then now you also have the Fate Smile, is that right? So
Yes, I do.
7, and so you start with 2, so we're looking at 2 out of 7?
Yes, 2 out of 7.
2 out of 7. Okay, so 30 out of 30 life for Weddle, 2 out of 7 light fate. Regina with 20 out of 27, and also 5 out of 5 spell points. Regina with 27 out of 27 life, 2 out of 7 light fate. Reginald Shun, 19 out of 19 life, 2 out of 2 life for the Peddler's Cloak, and 2 out of 7 light fate, plus 6 out of 6 spell points. And Lump has 27 out of 27 life and 1 out of 6 light fate.
Very
I believe what we're looking at, that is our setup there. Now, I noticed that Effect Life mentioned before, is there a way to get a quick recap? So with this crew and this particular adventure, there's been a whole lot. What I will say is that there have been adventures that have taken them from graveyards in the city to people attempting to resurrect their dead wives, to places where there were a bunch of toads that had been, or people, miners I should say, that have been transformed into toads, to a person who was cursed and would have died if it were not for the party bringing him to a place where the curse could be lifted and he could be reunited with his love, which is what we did in our last session. And I will say, I just noticed that you will have had plenty of time to replace lost spears and lost equipment for sure, because this has basically been a few weeks since the last time that we met, or since the last time that the adventure took over. And so,
I have a quick question.
Sure, please.
Sorry. If Lump has been doing odd jobs and stuff, will he have earned any gold?
Yes, and actually that gives me a chance to talk about what Reginald had talked about as well.
Cool.
So I would say yes. If Lump has been doing odd jobs, this may actually be an appropriate way to sort of set this up. And let me lift up the map here so we can have our location be in the right spot. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to have everyone focus your attention once I get the map fixed for chat. Hold on a second. Okay. There we go. There's the map, so we can get that more centered. Like so. Okay, good. All right. So, as you have been looking for gold and various items and things like that, what you have discovered, Reginald, is that I'm going to come back to Lump in a second, but this ties into Lump. Reginald, what you've discovered is that there may be an opportunity for you to be able to find people who can help you if you were to go to the temple. Now, the temple is across the Storm River, and it is in what is more popularly known in the realm as the middle region of the realm. This, I'm sure, has no, connection to anybody who's ever, at all, who's ever had any connection with any other
face
kind
of a
of
Talisman player who knows exactly what
Yes.
we're talking about right now.
And you can actually see on the map where the temple is located. It is located over here. And so the temple is a place where you think, Reginald, you may be able to, for a fee, because you know from legend that the temple always requires a fee, but for a fee, the temple may be able to assist you in learning an intermediate spell that you could add to your total. I bring that up because, Lump, you, in asking about places where you could make some extra money, first of all, you did gain some extra money when you helped someone stack barrels on top of barrels and hay bales on top of hay bales, and then eventually, for reasons that perhaps known only to the owner, you had to also stack wagons on top of wagons. It was kind of a strange time. They were settling things.
It is 100% a bet.
Yeah. It's late summer and they're starting to look at preparing for harvest or something like that. Anyway, so you did end up getting 5 gold for this experience, but also more valuable to you is the fact that they also gave you a tip. And that was that one of the best places to look for work, they told you, is either to go to the city, and of course you're all familiar with that, or to go and check out some new work positions that are available at something called the Tavern. Now, the Tavern, as you can see on the map there, is to the north of Innsview. It's about half a day's walk north, and it is a welcome haven for both weary travelers and eager adventurers. It's called the Tavern because it's one of the most famous in all the realms, partly because the people who own it are well known to be very generous and kind. The beer is good and plentiful and not overly expensive, that sort of thing. But also because of its sort of strategic location, because it's halfway in between Villadoc and Leyruin, lots of people stop there. And so there's constantly traffic, basically going to and fro. And so there's lots of news and lots of people who want work, basically, and or need people to do work. And so there's a big job board, basically, at the Tavern as well, where you can look for further work as well. So there's money to be had there. There's also work to be had there. And as it happens, Reginald, the Tavern is one of the places where you can get passage over the Storm River to the temple. And so for those 2 reasons, those things might make sense to the 2 of you. Now, as to why Huedel and Regina may want to cross, that'll be up to the 2 of you perhaps to have convinced them. But our adventure is going to be beginning at the Tavern. So I guess my question is, how do the 4 of you... Like I assume it's like getting the band back together, right? Like, how does Reginald and or Lump bring Regina and Huedel back into this mix?
I'll say for Huedel's point of view is the thing with training up your stamina, see, is this very tiring. But he's got a great friend, Lump, who he can just catch a lift with, in that he just climbs onto Lump and Lump walks around, and then Huedel doesn't need to walk around.
There is now a dwarven kind of satchel on my back. So
little saddle.
Huedel can just sort of curl up and sleep on the journey.
Yes, Grace.
This is getting more Master Blaster all the time. I just want you all to know.
Much.
Like,
But I think the actual conversation, like the actual convincing of the convincing of Huedel, sort of probably went along the lines of adventure.
All right.
Go.
Very involved. Okay. What about Regina and Reginald? I assume, I imagine at some point Reginald would have or Lump would have sought out Reginald or something. Like some conversation was had where you're like, oh, I was planning to go that way anyway. But I'm curious if that's the case, and then I also want to know how we get Regina with the 3 of you.
I think so. Like passing conversation, I'd mentioned that I feel like I have to leave because I need to, after getting pummeled again and not feeling like I did all that much help in that confrontation. I need to seek out stronger magics, more ways of the earth to draw upon. And that I would need to make passage to the temple, although it would not be an easy passage and I'd appreciate some help. And then Lump would be like, be heading to Tavern. I would have thought. I'd be like, Well, the one across the river. So my
Work
throat's a
at
bit rough,
Tavern.
so I might not get a lot of Reg voice tonight. Just my throat's sore from the weekend.
Understandable.
So convenient. I'm also going that way, and I may be able to get passage across the river there. I mean, there is this bridge on this map. Does anyone know anything about this bridge over here? That looks a lot easier to cross being a bridge, right? Talisman players, right?
Note the word that's being left out every time Reginald says bridge, which is the sentinel before the bridge. And that's the problem, is the sentinel determines, as of course Reginald knows all too well, who is worthy to cross and who does not, and it is based only upon the sentinel's inscrutable logic. And most of the time the sentinel is like, no, you can fight the sentinel. That usually doesn't end well, though there have been exceptions.
So Tavern it is.
Good work at Tavern.
Could
All
be
right.
work indeed.
How about Regina?
That's the question.
Well, Regina is very afraid of more friends leaving, so she is not really sure what's going on or what the next plan is, because she's just so occupied with reading. But she follows and asks important questions like, do you think Muriel will like my book? Do you think I can show my book to Muriel? What does this word mean? and all of this, and more or less just like, so that nobody else get lost ever again, just follows them.
Just imagining Regina just going, what does strategic mean?
Strategic. What does it have to do with eggs? Why is it?
Now looking for eggs so that she can be better in battle.
I can spot them. I'm really good at it. I'm pretty sure that's what the book wants. Just me throwing more stuff.
Strat-eggy. That's what it is. It's strat-eggy.
Yes.
I was told distinctly that this book would tell me how to be tactics. So here is tactics. Egg.
There's just a montage of just Regina just flying towards enemies, just pelting them with a book.
Isn't tactics when people are like really nice and polite to each other? I'll get there.
As our adventurers are, doing exactly what they need to do by having this pleasant journey, you will be happy to know that the trip to Innsview passes relatively uneventfully. And of course, it must be said that well, as I've mentioned, the Tavern at Innsview. It is a popular and profitable. It is the destination for those seeking a good meal or a strong drink and a soft bed, and is also a place for up-and-coming adventurers to linger a while, to stay a while and listen, and swap tales of their harrowing trials and heroic deeds out into the wide world. And thank you for the extra tavern music, Roll20, which decided to blast at 1 billion volume. Okay, as you see on the horizon, we're going to pick this up just as you are coming within view of the tavern, and you can see the sight of its blue roof and 3 stories that rise on the horizon, and invites you to quicken your pace as you idly daydream about its roasted pheasants and juicy sausages. Very legit food, this place, by the way. Super legit, also not incredibly expensive. The classic family portions, you know what I'm saying? Like, and for Lump can be his own family when it comes to eating, perhaps. But, the point is, it's good food. And it's not until you get a little closer that you notice something strange, which is there is no smoke rising from the chimneys. And contrary to what you hear at the moment, there's also no music, which is floating down the road. And as you arrive at midday, you spy a trio of merchants loading up their horse and cart in the yard, almost ready to set out. And they don't seem very happy to any of you. They look kind of annoyed, actually. A tawny-headed youth is lingering by the stables and watching them pack. The doors to the tavern are closed, and no lights or laughter filter out from inside. Tacked to the entrance is a simple sign, under new ownership, closed for renovations. What does the party wish to do?
That might prove inconvenient.
Well, that's really sad. I
You said
mean,
there were people nearby.
You, Lump, go.
No, sorry. Carry on.
No, I've been learning about tactics, and that also means that we need to let people talk.
I was just going to say, did we see people nearby packing up a cart?
Yes, you do see 3 people that are packing up a cart that look to be merchants of some kind, and not very happy ones, judging from their demeanor. There is an elf, a human, and a sprite among them, and then there's another boy who's kind of near the stables watching them pack.
I am going to bandy my way over to them and go, need a hand?
Oh, and the human actually responds and says, "Oh yes, we'd welcome one, although we don't have a lot of extra coin to spare, I'm afraid. But well, you're welcome to take one of these if you wish." You can see that their cart has a bunch of these. They look like sort of almost like things that you would like food stuffs, but like basic food items. Like they have cucumbers, and they've got like tomatoes and various like vegetables and produce and things. But you also notice, Lump, that they're a little, like they look a little bit yellowed, and maybe sort of like the cucumbers look a little weird. It almost looks as if they are not super fresh. Like as if they're kind of, I mean, they're not like poisonous, but they don't look as if they're as fresh as they could be. And so as you're looking in kind of the cart, the human that you were talking to says, you can have a couple of those for all the good it's going to do. Unbelievable. Can't actually run a service this way. And
I flutter over. Do you have eggs?
And there is, in fact, a thing of eggs. And he says, "Aye, there's some. I could probably sell you a few if you wish. I'd rather sell them than bring them back with me."
I'll read up on this chapter, and then I'll decide. Thank you.
Okay. So Lump, there's a bunch of like, basically baskets and crates and things like that on the ground that you could help put in if you wish.
Yeah, we'll definitely help do that. While he's doing that, he's going to sort of thumb over to the tavern. Well, actually, he's going to say to the human, "Food go bad soon."
I know it. I was planning to sell this to the tavern. It's supposed to be going in there, but I don't know what's happened with everybody else. Where the devil is Miles and the rest of them? It should be here, and yet none of them are here. Now, you know that the tavern is also run famously by Niles and Ura. Niles and Ura Murdo are the proprietors of the tavern. And so as the human goes on, he says, "It's not like them at all. They put in their usual order. We got here figuring we'd load everything off and then be back while we could still take advantage of the nice weather. And yet, nothing. That place has been locked since yesterday. Well, what am I supposed to do now? With a wagon full of these things?" And he points at the wagon, which is full of these perishing goods. "So we had to spend the night in the barn. Now we're going to try to get on to Leyrun and hope we can at least break even with whatever's left."
Hwaddle would like to just pop his head out of his little lump satchel and just say, like a little angel speaking in Lump's ear, "Oh, I think we should break into the tavern and see what's going on. Just knock the door down. It's just one door. It's just a bit of wood. Go on. Go on."
Not after last time. Last time got chased.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny though.
If
We
door
could.
unlocked, though.
We could look in the windows.
If windows open.
I
could check owners.
Reginald's going to wander over to the windows and have a look.
Okay. So when you get over to the windows, you see that they seem to be boarded up, although it does look like you could try to smash through them, but you don't see anything obvious.
I fly over to Reginald. Can you hold my book for a moment, please?
Sure.
I might need to get a cookbook in the future, though. You might have to remind me. I fly up to the chimney and see if I can get in.
Okay. When you fly up to the chimney, you see that the chimney has been capped. It is to keep out flying creatures, in fact, Regina, although presumably not sprites. I think it's probably designed to keep out birds, more likely. But in any case, it's a metal cap that's on the top of the chimney. Now, you could try to kind of, rip it off or attack it if you wish. But it is a cap through which smoke is there's like a grate through which smoke could filter.
Well, I just very politely kick it.
Very politely kick it. Okay.
Just see that's maybe it's loose. Maybe it doesn't belong on here, and just wind has blown it up to the chimney, and it's just not supposed to be here.
That's what you
Does
hear.
it fall off?
No. You just hear the metal sound. And you all hear that drifting down to you from above as Regina kicks the grate.
I come down again. The chimney is blocked. I'm not sure it's supposed to be that way, but it's blocked.
I have an idea. I hand Regina back her book and also say, I'm not sure eggs are what you need.
It's all really, really complicated.
It is.
Yes.
Lump, there's one box left, so one crate left now.
Okay.
As
I'm gonna lift it onto the car, and then I'm gonna put my hand out to the human and go, Lump.
And the human puts his hand out and he says, Talfin, thank you for your help, friend. That made things much faster. And he kind of sizes you up and he says, we could use someone like you. I think the three of us, that's Merithil there, and he points out an elf who nods. And then that one is Ferial, and you see Ferial is this sprite who's kind of floating around and up and down. And he says, well, we've got a lot of things going for us, but we don't really have the muscle that we need. If you joined us, well, we could use someone to load and unload. I could pay you well, certainly in foodstuffs, and probably if we could ever get this stuff to the village, we'd have money I could pay you with too.
We're heading.
Well, we're going to try to get to Ley Ruin if we can. Now, Ley Ruin is to the south. So basically they came from the north up here, presumably, and they are heading down here below the ruins, and they are here right now, the tavern.
There's a long moment where Lump looks at the caravan, the cart, and the three merchants, and then looks back at the tavern with Regina and Reginald at the window. Can't now. If find me in village another time can help.
And he nods and he says, all right, I'll see what I can do. If you're looking for that sort of work, you can find us in Ley Ruin. Just head south. We'll be down there. But until then, I wish you the best of luck. And if you see Ura and Niles, tell them they owe me something for this. I didn't just stop here for my health, after all. And he kind of nods at you and then, all right, let's be off. And the elf gets into the front of the wagon. Talfel takes care of a couple things with the horse that is lashed to the wagon and then jumps up. And then the wagon pulls out, leaving only the boy by the stables looking at them and at you.
Lump's conscience, his dwarven conscience, speaks up again, says, well, you made the right choice there now. Speaking of right choices, have you ever heard of our Lord and Saviour knocking down doors?
There's a moment where Lump just sort of pushes Wed's head back into the satchel. Not kicking down doors. Felt weird turning down money though. And I'm just sort of meanders back to the other two. But there's a moment where he's like, did you say there was the tawny-haired boy near the barn?
There is, yeah.
He's like, he looks at the boy, and then looks at the cart, and then looks at the boy, and then looks at the cart that's going down the road. Am I close enough to talk to this boy?
Yeah, sure.
Not with them.
Oh no, sir. I work here. Stable boy. My name's Unwin. If you're going to be wanting, good to see you, Lump. If you're going to be wanting a place to stay, though, you won't be able to go here, I'm afraid. They're kind of closed. They're for renovations, they call it.
This normal?
Well, he looks a little uncomfortable. Not exactly. I kind of don't know exactly what's going on, to be honest with you. Like 3 days ago, I woke up and everyone was gone, and Branton, well, that's the nephew of the old owners, he was getting the tavern's horses and cart ready for a journey, and then he gave me these eviction letters, he said, and that was it. He gave me these letters, told me to slip them under the doors, the remaining guests, and then once they were all gone, bar and lock the doors. And so I did that. I still got a job, I suppose.
Good job. Good money. Stables always need cleaning.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it, but I don't know that I much like the way the new owner is running things, honestly. What kind of a tavern doesn't open? But as long as I'm getting paid, I suppose.
Yeah,
No.
I'm also in favor of taverns opening. Something needs to be done.
So while they're talking, Reginald's sort of looking around, like frowning, muttering to himself, and he puts his fingers in his mouth and he goes, it sounds exactly like that.
Okay.
And then you hear a very faint yapping coming from somewhere. And then, what time of day is it, actually?
By the time you reach there, it's about midday, so I would say 12, 1, something like that.
Okay. So you just generally he's very, very faint because of the light, but you sort of see the familiar outline, or at least to the party, the familiar outline of Boots appearing, just running around yapping.
Okay. And
so, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, he looks at him, the boy is sort of like, oh, that's pretty nice there. Is just sort of sees it in the distance. Okay.
That's Boots. Boots' best boy.
Boots' best boy in all lives. So I kneel down to him, pat him on the head and go, can you have a look inside, boy? I know locked doors don't bother you. So basically what I'm doing is I'm activating his scouting ability here, now that I've actually bothered to read up on the rules a bit more.
Nice.
Yes, so tell those folks what the scouting ability does for him.
The scouting ability is for spirit companions, which Boots the ghost dog is. Insubstantial scout for the cost of a loyalty point. He can scout through walls into nearby rooms to give a vague, well, depending on how the rolls go, can potentially give me a vague report of what's inside. Or he might find nothing. He is also a dog. And dead.
Right. He's doing this from the outside, though, looking through the walls, basically, or
well, he can go in.
He can go through them. Okay.
Pass through the walls. Yeah, he can pass through walls.
Okay. So, all right. So if you're going to do that and send him through, and I'll come back to the conversation Lump that you're having in just a moment. So if you're doing that, then Boots kind of phases in. Are you able to see a vision of what Boots sees, or is Boots going to be able to describe it to you?
It says it's a vague report of what's occurring in nearby rooms. So I assume he comes back and we have like a psychic link.
Yes. So what you hear, the sort of vague image that you get is you get the image of food, possibly spoiled food. You get the impression that no one is in there, and this thing is very odd. You get this weird impression of what you can only describe as this sort of dolls, like brown statuettes made, like brown wood statuettes of some kind that are just there's more than one of them. There are multiple ones.
Something isn't right in there. Everyone is dolls.
What?
Everyone is dolls.
Could you clarify, please, dolls?
Lots of food, rotting, lots of doll shapes around.
Where?
Inside, Boots looked,
Oh, Boots.
and you hear,
Yeah.
Lump's dwarven conscience would like to advise him to not break down the door and walk away. Just walk away from this one.
Everybody is a doll in there.
the
Lump just folds his
brown,
arms.
wooden-looking.
Do they still have their stuff and do they still need it?
Boots didn't say.
Hmm.
You
He
got
saw
also
big sticks and food.
also Reginald. There were a few of them that it like wasn't like a million, but just there were a few that you noted. But it was odd because
Mm.
Is Unwin still nearby?
Yes, and yes. Sorry to go back to the conversation that you were having. So Unwin says, yeah. So I've just been here, sort of tending to the stables and the horses. Not that there's a lot of them there. It's just one that we got left in there, but it's belongs to one of the people, but they never actually came back to claim it.
Door. You have key if work here?
And he says, well, not exactly. And he kind of looks uncomfortable. I mean, I do, but, well, the owner said not to let anyone else in. I mean, it's my job, and they said to just unlock and lock it up and bar it and stay closed. And that's what I've been doing. So.
Okay. I'm doing some thinking here. But if it's locked and closed, you don't have a job anymore. So it's not your job. And you could give us the key.
Oh, no. He actually, every so often, I get actually some food and some money. At least, I've got my first payment so far. He actually have been able to pay me. He said he's planning to reopen soon.
So we wait here. Maybe you take one of us inside. Make sure everything's okay.
And he kind of nods and he says, I don't know. I mean, I was told not to. I mean, look. And he holds out a piece of parchment, basically. And I am going to show the players what this parchment says.
Handout.
Yep, getting another handout. Okay, so this is what Unwin refers to as an eviction letter. He claims, and nope, there it is. There we go. I was like, what the hell is my thing? All right. And there we go. And now I'm going to show this to the players who should now be able to see it. And it reads, the Tavern at Innsview, sorry, chat, I know that map is off, is now under new management and closed for renovations effective immediately. You must vacate the premises at once. No breakfast will be served. No supplies are available for purchase. And so he gives you that letter and he says, he told me it was a letter to let the other people know. I mean, I don't read, so I don't know, but I'm assuming that's what it says.
I read. I have a book.
No read. I hand the letter. As if he gives me the letter, I hand the letter to Weds on my back.
If there's renovations, where are the workers?
Weds is going to read out the letter as it appears to him. The tavern at Innsview is now under new management and closed for renovations, apart from to our good friends Lump, Chwedl, Reginald, Regina, and Boots. Everyone else must vacate the premises at once. no breakfast will be served apart from to lump and Hweddle. And no supplies are available for purchase.
And as you're saying this, by the way, Unwin is like is looking more and more confused. He's like, I don't think that all fits on the paper. There's not a lot of writing on it. I don't. Also, how would they know what? And he just sort of like looks thoroughly confused at you.
Well,
I'm very
we're
good at
famous.
reading. I like. Can you read? Have you read this? Like, you know how big words are, do you?
Yeah,
You know how
well-
much words fit on a page because you're so good at reading, are you?
Well, no, sir. Not exactly. I just it looks like completely flummoxed.
Well, names get around. We heroes of Fishburg.
And the Unwin sort of, Fishburg, is it the smelly town?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the heroes of the smelly town. Oh well, okay. Well, and he looks like very like, I guess I could let one of you inside for at least a little bit, I suppose, since it says your name on the letter and all. I guess. And he
You're
kind
a
of
smart lad.
he sort of stumbles over slightly in the direction of the door. Of
I
the tavern.
assist Weddle out of Weddle's out of the backpack sling and onto the floor.
Okay. All right. So if you make your way over to the tavern following Unwin, he comes over and then unlocks with a large iron key the front door and opens up the tavern. And when the tavern opens, there's this strange combination of smells. There is sort of the musty, sort of unforgettable odor of a day after a large party. You know what I'm saying? Combined, little alcohol smell type of thing in there. There is the smell of perhaps slightly overripe, perhaps even maybe rotting food. But the inside of the tavern beyond that has this unsettling air of a hastily abandoned place. And Unwin sort of steps back and he says, all right, well, you can take a quick look, but probably shouldn't be in there too long, though. And he kind of gets out of the way so you could enter if you wish.
I point to Weddle and I say, maybe go scout.
What?
Maybe go scout. Go see what's inside.
Me?
You read letter.
Yeah, that.
Oh, it's true. That letter's for you. So, yeah. And Unwin
Yeah,
smiles.
It was for me, Hweddle, hero of Fishburg.
There's a moment where Lump kind of very slowly puts an arm around Weddle and leans Weddle away from Unwin and sort of goes, we're a bit scary. You're people person.
All right. Yeah, that's me. I am going to go inside the room with the dolls. Now.
We'll be right here if we need you.
Hweddle walks into the tavern.
The door slams, a terrifying scream, and then silence. No, that's not what happens. The inside of the tavern, as I mentioned, Weddle, has this unsettling air of hastily abandoned places. The hearth fires are dead, the ovens are cold, and it's a pretty large tavern as well. There's not even a stubborn ember which remains burning. The candles on the tables in the bar you can see have burned down to stubs, and the pools of wax left behind, even from where you stand by the doorway, basically looks as if they're just congealed and cooled and all that. There is a little bit of sunlight filtering in through little cracks in the boarded up, windows on the inside, but that is barely enough to illuminate the strange state of disorder in which the tavern lies. I mentioned this faint stench of old food lingering in the air with the smell of slowly rotting garbage. And there are dozens of plates and bowls, some with bones or bits of half-eaten rolls and stuff like that, scattered about the common room, as well as mugs and glasses that seem to hold nothing but dregs. But this doesn't, from what you can tell, this doesn't look like the result of any violence. It looks just like meals that were eaten but were never cleared away. The front door, so the door that's opposite the one you went to, one of the doors that was on the side, basically is where he let you in. The front door to the tavern has been barred from the inside with a sturdy beam, and it's just absolutely silent within. You don't hear the sound of anything else. There is a staircase in one corner, which presumably leads up to the second floor, sleeping quarters and so on. But that area also seems strangely silent. And in fact, the only sound that you now can kind of hone in on is the buzzing of tiny little flies that are feasting on the leftovers at the tables.
Can I see any sign of these wooden dolls?
No. But then you haven't started searching for them yet.
I'd like to search for the wooden dolls, please.
Well, so where do you want to take a look? Because there are multiple places, like, multiple floors and things like that. You could look. There's this central room that you could go. It's up to you as to where you'd like to see. But basically, there's a main room to the tavern. There is the kitchen you can see from here. Then you got the stairs up to the second floor. And I can describe any of the rooms you want to go to, but
I'd like to go to the kitchen.
okay.
Please.
Yeah, you could even see it from here a little bit. Actually, there are these 3 hearths there, although at the moment, as I mentioned, dark and cold. There's a bunch of sacks and barrels lining the shelves that are in here, and some cupboards as well. And there are at least a dozen books that seem to stand ready on a rack near the stove. Maybe they're cookbooks or recipe books or something. And there's also a staircase that leads both down from here to, I guess, a basement, and then up as well from here that you can see. So there's that. The other thing is you can see next to the cold stove on the ground is a wooden doll lying on the ground.
Is it like a small doll-sized doll, or like a...
Yes, it is a small doll-sized doll.
All right. Can I get my... No, my crwth. I can't risk the crwth. Can I get my rapier out and just poke it with the handle end and see if it falls over?
Okay. Yeah, well, it's actually lying on its side. It's just like lying on the ground flat. So you could poke it if you wish. You can see on it is this exquisitely detailed, well, as you get close, statue that has, it looks like it's, there's like an apron that it has. And in fact, if you look closely, it looks like carved into the apron has been what, like maybe soup stains, like it's like they've carved the apron itself has been carved to look as if it's been used. So there's that. And when you poke it, it just, like, wood scraping on stone, you just drag it along the ground.
Chwedyl would like to take off his lovely traditional decorative tasseled shawl.
Okay.
He's way too fashionable to wear a cloak. And kind of, not directly touch the wooden doll, but
okay.
like using a poo bag,
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just gonna bring it back to the doorway, the entrance, not take it outside, but just like rest it just inside the doorway so all of his mates can have a look.
Okay.
And he's gonna say, is it just me, or is this kind of making you think that like this was a person and now they're a wooden doll?
Like sprite size now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just look over at Unwin. This cook.
And Unwin looks sort of like very troubled, and he kind of like peers in. Well, it does look like her right enough. It's a pretty amazing copy, actually. But I mean, it's been carved, I guess, but I've never seen any of those things before, though.
Was your cook this small?
And he kind of, well, no, I mean, our cook's name is Mildred. He's regular sized, regular, human sized. But she definitely was not a wooden doll, just to be clear.
But
Waddle would like to.
Mildred.
Yeah.
Sorry, Waddle.
Huddle would like to get his rapier handle out again and now just slowly nudge the doll over the threshold to the outside of the tavern.
It just goes cloop.
All right, cool. So there's no you take the doll out of the tavern eats you kind of situation going on.
Tavern becomes the doll. No, none of those things.
Reginald would like to pick up the doll.
Okay.
And he sniffs it.
You don't smell anything. I can tell you that the doll's eyes are closed, as if it's like sleeping. And
he knocks on it.
You hear?
Mm-hmm. Does he recognize the wood as being from any specific foresty woodland area? Or even just a type of tree that might be native to an area?
Yeah, I'm thinking about if there's a particular skill. Let's see.
Don't cross my mind, Bruce.
Sorry, should I have asked about questions about dolls, creepy doll adventures?
Okay, I'm gonna cave. Reginald also tastes the wood.
Okay, so when you do this, you are So, I would like you, let's see, to make a lore test for me. And if you have a focus in, no, actually, I take that back. Not lore.
Okay.
I take it back.
Okay.
Survival instead. And do you happen to have focus in forest? That would be good if any of those things would work. We're looking at insight, by the way, is the particular one we're looking for.
Yep, I just have survival and focus, so I just get the +3 from insight with no extra bonus.
Okay.
Now, do I like fate or not? They replenish. I'll use a light fate for a bonus die. Why not?
All right.
Okay, so 4d6 +3. Yeah, I'll drop the 4, I think, and keep the double 3 and the 2 on the Kismet.
Okay. So as you do that, so we're looking at, so that was about an 11 total.
That's
then?
11,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like any determinate kind of wood, any particular kind of wood. If you had to guess, it just seems like sort of, it could be perhaps oak or something like that, but very generic to you. You don't get the sense that there's any obvious like tree that this is from. Now, it is true, of course, that there are forests all over the place, but not anything here that you notice and you're like, oh, wait, I should check this out in particular.
So he goes, oak.
What? Like one of those really mean trees?
He rummages in his pack and pulls out the acorn. Like this.
Yeah.
The emergency acorn.
Is this still like a plant? Is this still alive? I poked the doll.
And the doll just scrapes along the stone.
Hello. I talk to the doll.
The doll silently does not regard you because its eyes are closed.
Does the doll look in like a normal natural stance, or is it like sort of eyes closed but like hands up, like guarding or get what does the doll look like? Because it's different if it's just like doll hands on side or doll like, oh god, no, don't cast that spell on me.
It looks like the arms and hands and everything are just by its side, sort of like just straight down, right?
Right.
And eyes are closed with its legs straight.
Quaddle would like to sit the doll up because sometimes that makes the eyes open.
So it's actually can't. Well, you could stand it. You could do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So you stand it up, and it just sort of rocks back and forth slightly as you place it before it just kind of stabilizes, and then it just doesn't do anything.
Oh, thank God.
Is there any barrels or crates or anything outside that we can maybe put this doll on so one of us doesn't step on it?
Yeah, there's a actually there are a couple ones. There's actually there's a rain barrel, but there's also like a cover lying open next to it that you could just put the cover on top of the barrel and then put the doll on top of the barrel, if top of the cover if you wanted.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to look at Weddle and say, more?
Yes.
Boots saw more.
And
Thanks.
Unwin's eyes, by the way, sorry, I
Boots.
just want to say Unwin's eyes are getting like wider and wider, like not happy about any of this.
I feel you. Yes, Quaddle will gallantly go in search of more dolls.
I come with you.
Reginald will come into this time.
Good idea.
I look at Unwin.
It's only tiny dolls.
And Unwin's like, well, it's all right for the four of you. I mean, according to what he said, you're right there in the letter, but it doesn't refer to me. And he kind of gives you a sheepish grin and sort of folds his arms and
Right, well,
waits.
you stay out here alone with this other doll then.
So, and as if you enter, like, I think we see Unwin just sort of like, with a death stare at the doll, just like staring right at it.
There's a few seconds for Unwin's just like, I probably count on that letter.
Exactly. This is right before we roll credits where there's just a doll like leaps up. So
I
anyway.
shout outside the door, let us know if the doll does anything. Yes, please.
All right.
Scream twice for murder.
I mean,
What?
So far, its expression can only be described as wooden.
I just slap Reginald on the shoulder. Funny flesh ghost.
What?
Funny flesh ghost. Oh, never mind.
So let me describe as you enter this main room. I've already described what it looks like, so I won't do that again. But I will tell you that the main room, which is the room that you first enter in the tavern, next to the kitchen there, Weddle, the main room features this long bar that easily could seat probably 12 patrons with elbow room to spare. It's a very good size. And behind the bar, looking over the shelves of various bottles and brews, there is the skull of a dragon, which is just hanging there as a decoration. Beside the bar, there's a staircase that leads up. That's the one that we talked about, that I mentioned that would have gone to the second floor. And the rest you can't see. You'd have to go up to the bar to see what's behind it beyond that. There's also 2 fireplaces. There are at least 15 public tables with, as I said, food and various types on them. And then there's a small booth in the corner, looks like a private booth for private meetings or something. And by the door, there's also a suit of old armor, which stands by the door. And right nearby it is the kitchen where Weddle found the doll.
So
Reginald
Reginald's
Reginald's going to poke the armor with the handle of his scythe.
Okay, and you hear
About what I expected. And it wasn't just because I wanted to hear that sound.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank goodness for my careful use of top sound effects with water bottles.
So
Hey, it's doing outstanding work. Sorry.
So where did you find the doll?
It in the kitchen through over there.
Was there alcohol in the kitchen?
There was cookbooks.
Oh,
Oh, they looked like they could have been cookbooks. I didn't stop to read because there was a creepy doll. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was really,
you brought it out. I saw it.
yeah.
I commented on it.
Yeah, sorry, everything's just going in a bit of a blur with me, to be honest.
Are you okay? Do you feel like stiff or anything?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's because of any curse or anything. I think just creepy dolls in abandoned taverns will do that to a man.
Oh, well, okay. But dolls are not dangerous. Even that dragon is dead.
Well, now you got me thinking, haven't you?
About what?
The dragon.
It's very obviously dead. Like, it's only its head, not even with the like lively parts.
And you just hear,
Okay, Boots. Yeah. Okay. This is not helping.
Right.
Trying to make like all the thinking here and it's not really going well. I'll go upstairs.
Yeah, let's just find the other dolls. And any
Reginald's going to go
clues
into
we can.
the kitchen where the doll was originally found.
All right, Reginald's going to the kitchen. Regina's going upstairs. Any other places we have the party going to at this
Come
point?
on, Scooby Gang.
I want to make sure I know exactly where everyone's split. I mean, where you're all exploring. To Fweddle, where are you going?
I'm just gonna be ready to climb back into my little safe lump satchel. And I'm gonna assume while Mike is gone that Lump is hanging around in the main area. But he's back now, so maybe he'll have something to say about that.
Okay.
But Hweddle is definitely kind of got one hand on the edge of the sack, ready to jump into his little hammock. Like, he's so ready.
Okay. So we will find out in a minute whether Lump is hanging down below. Lump, we have a question as to whether you're staying in the main room. So the party's decided to split up. Regina has gone upstairs. Right. Reginald has gone into the kitchen. Hweddle is basically hovering around you, specifically your satchel. So the question is, are you staying in the main area or where else?
Right, sorry, where have people gone?
Regina went upstairs. Reginald went to the kitchen, which is right attached. And Hweddle is basically hovering near the satchel near your back.
Okay, I'm going to go with Reginald because Regina's a mighty warrior and can probably take care of herself if anything goes down. Reginald, I have seen fall over several times.
Okay.
So he probably needs not like protecting, but like if it hits the fan, he's probably going to need a lump in the way of it hitting the fan.
Okay. So let's talk about that kitchen first then, Reginald. And then I'll come back to, because you, Lump, and Hweddle there, and then I'll come up to Regina. So there are these 3 hearths that I mentioned, although they are all cold at the moment. A bunch of sacks and barrels on the shelves and on the cupboards here. And then there are at least a dozen books of something, you don't know, but they're books of some kind standing on a rack near the stove. And there's a staircase here that leads down and up. So this is like the middle floor, presumably down to the cellar or up to the next floor.
Hweddle, can you point where the doll was?
Hweddle was just like, it was on the floor there.
So it's in the middle of the floor.
Yeah. Just like
Yes.
point to
Right
where the
there.
doll on the floor hurt you. Oh no, I can't. It's terrible. I did this. The doll reverses.
I nearly went that direction out of just pure habit. It's like, no, that makes no sense.
That
right
makes no
now.
sense. It doesn't work. It doesn't actually work. Okay. So you can see just the space where Hweddle points, which is
Okay.
right near the stove.
Is there any pans on the floor, like something carrying that might have been dropped?
There are not actually. The one thing that you can note about the inside of that area is that you don't get the same sense. There does seem to be a scent kind of sort of wafting from a little bit from the one of the hearths. And you can see basically that there's like a stew pot that's in the hearth, which is just cold. And you can see like congealed stew inside that's just been left out way too long.
Okay. So that's caught my attention. So I guess there's like just utensils around.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
if I just want to grab one for like say stirring the pot to see what happens,
Yep,
which I would
absolutely,
like
you
to
could do
do.
that. Okay.
So just like
So
you
first of all, it's when you put the spoon in there, right, and then as you're like stirring this, weird viscous stew, and nothing seems to happen other than just stew being stirred. It's definitely, but you can smell like what probably would have smelled really good a few days ago, and now is just like, there might have been some pasta, some noodles in here. I don't know if any of you know in chat or my players the worst smell on Earth, but the worst smell that exists on God's green earth clearly is rotting pasta. Like pasta that it is the worst stench of all recorded time. It is awful. So there's a little bit of that coming out of this. And yeah, it just seems like there's this stew, which looked like it should have been served or something, but
something happened here fast. This was to be served. Tavern wouldn't waste food if it had customers.
Yeah, I agree. Something weird happened. I've sang a lot of songs in the horror genre in the last few seasons. Not gonna recite one now for you, but one thing I always note is that if you have a choice to go upstairs or down into the cellar, I can't remember which way round it is, but I'm pretty sure nobody ever dies if they go down into the creepy cellar. So we should go downstairs.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm sure you were thinking it before me as well, because you're so enterprising, and maybe you'd like to go first.
But I am more comfortable in dark crypts and things like that. We might find some coins down there for lump, some crypt currency.
I can't. I just can't.
Wait till I tell you about Harad coin.
I just can't.
It's been a running joke on my channel for weeks.
Oh my god.
But yes, Reginald would actually like to go down into the basement.
okay.
Although if it screams at me, I'm not going to be amused.
The basement specifically.
Ah!
All right. So, Reginald, you're going downstairs. Lump and Whittle, are you following or are you staying here? I just wanted to see
Yeah,
if we
I'm
were
gonna
on
follow.
3 separate floors of the tavern, the party. I just want to make
So-
sure I knew.
Just before, so is the cellar like? Do we need to open a door to go to the cellar, or is it just like a?
No,
straight
it looks
shot
like just
downstairs?
stairs that lead directly down into it.
From the kitchen into the cellar.
Correct.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put my hand on Reginald's shoulder and just go, lump first.
If you insist. I mean, something's weird here, but I don't feel dangered.
Lump. Not one friend's hurt first. If danger, lump hurt first.
You are the danger.
Flesh ghost funny. And with that, I head downstairs.
Okay. So what this basically looks like here is it's a very small area, actually. It doesn't look like there's a lot of like storage down here. In fact, if anything, it looks to be what might be some kind of a workshop, because there are a bunch of like various wooden items like that are in various states of completion. Looks like there were some things, but it was stuff like, what looks like it might have been a some kind of a new pump handle for like a well that was being worked on one table, and then over on another side you can see something which looks like it might have been like a there was like a fence post that was being tapered at the bottom and stuff like that. And next to one of the workbenches, so it's basically just it's a room down below with work table around each side. But there is also a workbench in several places, and there is a stool towards the back wall, and sitting on the stool is a doll with its back to you.
So Reginald's going to go over to the.
I did it on purpose for Bruce. I was waiting for Bruce's reaction. I'm sorry. But anyway, does actually have its back to you.
You
But it was,
legit look like you're gonna vomit.
you know, it was just
one of these
it was the part where it's
descriptions.
like with its back to you. So, but no, the serious. In all seriousness, it does actually have its back to you. But I didn't mean to put it quite that way. Anyway.
Reginald's going to go over to where the fence post and the handle are. They're both made of wood, yeah?
Yeah, both made of wood.
So he's going to sniff them and then lick them.
These feel to be much more like sort of kind of also possibly oak, but it's probably of a local variety. Like if you had to guess, some of the actual walls of this tavern are probably made from the same kind of wood that this is. Does not seem like the same kind of wood that the dolls are made of.
Oak, but different oak from the dolls. Not sure the person that made these made the dolls.
So we've got benches, stool, doll on stool, right?
Yep. And some
Cool.
items on the benches, but that I've already described. Yeah.
I'm gonna go over to the doll. I'm gonna pick the doll up and look at it.
So when you look at this, it is seems to be a beautifully, exquisitely carved doll of a woman of middle years. You can see as well what looks like an apron, but this looks to be much cleaner and not stained at all. You can see the carving even of the hair, and you can see what looks like a handkerchief or a scarf around the neck of the doll. And again, same expression, eyes closed, hands just by its body.
Where the hell is Unwin?
He's
outside.
He's locked eyes with the doll, just terrified to move. I think was the last we saw of him.
I assumed Unwin came in with us.
No, Onwin was very clear that the letter only referred to you.
Just very nervously, just not shifting eye contact away from the closed eye doll.
That's how it works, right?
Excellent, cool. Are the eyes closed on this doll as well?
Yes. The eyes are closed on the doll, and the same, arms and legs, just in a position. Although it should be noted that this doll is not standing. It is basically positioned so that its legs are. It's basically sitting on the front of the stool, but its arms are down by its side.
Does it look like the legs could be moved so the doll could be standing?
It does not.
It does not, okay. So there's no articulation.
Correct. At least not any obvious one.
Okay, I'm going to leave the doll where it is. I'm going to put the doll back down. I'm going to leave where it is.
Okay.
Did you say it was a woman of middle years?
That's right. Seems like it.
With her? Yeah, okay.
I would like to collect the dolls together, so Huddle will take his very fashionable tasseled shawl again and poo bag, pick up the doll and just carry it by its head like at arm's length.
Okay. Okay, you can do that.
Is there anything on the workbenches?
Other than the thing I mentioned about the fence post, and then there's like a handle that looks like it's there. Nothing else, although there does seem to be what looks like a kind of a wood file that you can see on one of the benches right in front of where the doll is sitting or was sitting on the stool.
You say there was a handle?
Yes, like a handle for a pump, like an outdoor pump, like of a well, like in a tavern yard or something like that.
Right. Yeah, like a water pump. with
Exactly.
a handle. Okay. Are there any other doors in here? Any other exits, or is this it?
That's it. Just the stairs back up.
Don't see much else. I look over to Reginald.
Feel like whoever wrote that note didn't want these dolls found, which makes me think we should find them.
Feel like something happened here. Something big. Caught people and turned them into this.
There was that village with the toad miners, maybe similar magic.
She's going to start walking towards the staircase and walk back upstairs.
Okay.
We're just trying to really not pay any attention to the scary thing that happened on camera in the middle of the scary thing that's happening on stream.
Yep.
What?
Iron's door moved, and I've had enough now.
Oh no! I didn't even see that. Oh, I just looked over in Zoom chat. Your door moved. I didn't even see that. Oh man. Man. It's reminding me of my reaction to playing Resident Evil for the first time, which is I got one. It's when the freaking dogs jump through the window in the hallway. And at that point, I put the controller down. I walk over. I turn on every light in my house. I turn on sports radio to blast things. They're like, "Well, the Yankees with the blah blah blah," and turn down the volume on the game to 0. I'm like, zero immersion, buddies. Not a chance. No freaking way.
I will get through this my way.
Yeah, exactly. Forget your immersion. Anyway, it's like every bet, like the one Thief level. I love Thief, but man, they insist on an asylum level or an undead level, and I'm always like, that's the one. I'm like, nope. Let's go sports radio. Turn it up. No immersion. Let's go. Anyway, so yes, okay. So so you walk upstairs. I assume Weddle, you are hovering near Lump Satchel. Okay. Reginald, what about you? Are you staying down here? Or are you going up top?
I'll just wait a moment after they leave. Just look around and listen.
Okay. Let me have you make a notice test for me.
Okay.
And he was never seen again.
And then we heard the chainsaw.
Classic. Oh, you know what? I'll use my other light, Fate. It's the worst that could happen. I rolled a 6.
Yeah.
Well, I keep the light Fate.
You get a light Fate back.
I'll ditch one of the ones, I think. So that'll be a 14. Yeah, 14.
Yeah, you don't. The only thing you really don't even. You're probably too far away with that check even to be able to hear the slight buzzing of the flies above. But other than that, the thing that would strike you most, I think, Reginald, is how deathly quiet this whole place is. And it feels musty down here anyway, but just like absolute, just dead silence. There's a slight occasional, it feels almost like maybe there's a breeze in the room, but it's just, and it might be as you sort of move around, your body shifts and like you can sort of like create little zephyrs of dust on the floor and stuff like that.
But you also mentioned it's made of wood, so you normally at least get some sort of creaking, like because wood tends to settle, especially if it's not been used
That's
or
correct.
walked on for a while.
Yeah, none of that. Nope. Now, the floor, to be fair, is stone. If you were walking on a wooden floor, it's possible that might creak, but it's definitely not doing it on its own.
Bruce will never be seen again.
So,
be right back.
meanwhile,
Yes.
let's talk about what happened.
This is where a ghost just walks across Bruce's landing.
No, instead we just got the dog has emerged and arrived.
A black dog follows her downstairs.
Exactly.
Bruce doesn't own a dog.
But now the dog owns Bruce. Okay, no. So, meanwhile, Regina, you are up on the second floor, I believe, which is where you were headed next. Now, on the second floor, I will tell you that this is where most of the guest rooms seem to be. There is a staircase the staircase leads up a further floor because there's 3 floors total. The third floor is the smallest. But the second floor that you're on seems to have a lot of individual rooms from what you can tell. Presumably this is like where most of the people stay.
I fly up to a door and shout, "Hello!"
And nothing.
Then I try to open the door.
You're able to, actually.
Okay, I look inside.
When you look inside, there are 2 things you notice. First of all, you can see that there are these rooms are actually very nice by adventuring standards. You can see that there are 2 beds with blankets on them, fluffy pillows, and you can see on the other side there might be a basin and a mirror for washing. There's also a chest at the bottom, which is currently closed. Yes, closed. There's actually a chest at the foot of each of the beds. But the other thing you notice is that one of the beds, the blanket is basically like sort of swirled about. So like one of the beds is completely made up, like completely made as if just brand new. But the other one looks as if it's like all messed up, essentially.
I fly closer to the messed up bed.
Okay.
And I look at it.
It looks like there's like a bunch of like, it's like lumped up. So there may be pillows or other things underneath the blanket. But it's sort of like lumped up as if there's stuff underneath.
I use one of my spears and to lift up the blanket.
Underneath it, you see an exquisitely carved doll of a dwarf, if you had to
Is it
guess.
naked?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is wearing what looks like a loincloth.
Okay. I drop the blankets back on the dwarf and check the chest at the end of this bed.
Okay. When the chest opens up immediately, and you can see 2 pairs of dwarven-sized boots and what looks like a kind of beaten and battered helmet. That's seen its use in the past.
But it's still dwarven size, not doll size, yes?
Correct.
Okay, I let it slam shut and go to the next room.
Okay. And in the next room, you see this one is empty also with messed up blankets, but there's nothing in here. And when you sort of check these various rooms, when you check these various rooms...
Jesus Christ, Bruce.
You know, what just happened there?
Yes, what was that?
Nothing happened. There was just a noise.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God. I was not planning to run Curse of Strahd today. It's not even October. It's not even Halloween yet, but you know. So the rooms look mostly the same except without any more dwarven dolls in them, Regina. But I will say that there is 2 things of note. First of all, one of the rooms towards the back of the hall. So basically, there's like a hallway, and it's like room to the left, room to the right, room to the left, room to the right, right? Like just a row of rooms on each side. And in the back of the hallway, there is on one side, instead of beds, there are 2 tubs. And the inside the tubs are water. And as you sort of look at the tubs, the water is clear, like clear and apparently clean, and you can feel warmth coming from each of the tubs, and a slight purplish glow coming from a stone which is at the bottom of each of the tubs.
This must be the room for mermaids, very obviously.
So that's one side. The other side is another room like the ones you found, except this one looks to be much, even much nicer. It's a little bit bigger. And this one does not have like, it just has one big like king-sized bed and a fairly large chest at the foot of this one, plus a standing like wardrobe and things like that. It looks much nicer, as if maybe this is where like Niles and Ura themselves lived or something. But yeah.
Okay, I look around this room.
Okay. Anywhere in particular you're looking?
There was like a big furniture. I'm sorry,
yes,
I'm so tired.
No, it's fine. There was a standing wardrobe, which when you open it just seems to have like kind of like robes, like night, robes that you would put on at night type of thing.
Night robes, yeah.
And a pair of slippers at the bottom of the wardrobe.
Okay, was there any other furniture, like a chest at the end of the bed?
There's a chest at the end of the bed, that's right, which seemed to be bigger than the other ones.
And the bed looks nicely made, not swirled.
The bed, yes, the bed is nicely made. That is correct.
Okay, I open the chest.
Okay, so this chest is locked.
Well, I opened the chest.
You open the lock with the power of yourself. I would like a tinker check for you, please.
Yes.
Is what we're looking at.
I want to pick the lock, please.
Okay.
If that is possible. Otherwise, I'm going to try to destroy it, but first I would like to pick it.
You can try to pick this, I think. Let's see. So do you have the tinker?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you have a, let's see, focus for tinker would be, let's see. Yeah, so focus and pick lock. You have a focus for that?
I don't have. I have to do it.
Okay, so just 3d6 plus aspect, which would be...
agility for lock picking.
Agility, yes. Agility.
Okay, so 3d6 plus agility. 1 moment, I have the character sheet here. Okay.
The whole tavern feels like a mimic.
3d6 plus agility. Roll. 13? With double twos?
Yeah, with double twos. I will say, because that is a... Okay. I will say that is enough. So that is enough, I think, to open the chest. And because it is, you got the doubles, then we're looking at a great success, which means that when you open the chest and it kind of springs open, you narrowly avoid what looks like basically, it's not a needle. It looks, though, as if there was something attached to the underside that like swoops down from the top of the chest and embeds itself in the back of the chest. So basically, if you can imagine it, as you flip up the top, something was hinged from the top and it was a blade to land in the back of the chest. Now, here's the thing, Regina. You avoided being hurt by it, but that blade, that dagger, as it sort of kind of, just shakes, this almost certainly was added recently. Like, this doesn't look like it's part of the chest design. It's looked like it was kind of jury-rigged to be in this thing, to be in this chest after the fact.
Goodness me, it nearly cut up my book. Okay. I look carefully inside the chest, wielding my spear.
There is a one and only one. There is a scroll here, like a scroll case, basically, in the bottom of the chest.
Okay, that's not my thing. I look at it very closely to see if it's like maybe like glowing or exploding or ticking down or anything.
No runes at all. In fact, the scroll case seems quite plain. The scroll case is wooden, by the way, and there are corks in either side of it, just like as you would normally, like, things to keep it closed. But it does not look magical in any way, at least not obviously.
Okay, I poke my spear into one of the corks to get it out.
Okay.
Not to get the cork out, but to get like the whole scroll case out.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you're able to do that. You lift it up.
Okay, I take it downstairs to people who are in charge of scrolls.
Okay. So when you get down below, Regina, you see the rather troubled-looking Reginald, Lump, and Weddle, who have emerged from the basement/kitchen area, respectively.
Look! A chest tried to kill me, and I got a scroll. I hold it to Reginald.
I licked the
Did you?
scroll case.
It seems to be of a similar
Reginald.
consistency wood to the other wood which makes up the tavern, probably oak. Fine year, vintage year, Reginald.
But not the same oak as the dolls.
Yes.
I look
correct.
at Reginald. Did you kind of get possessed by boots?
He's been doing that a lot recently.
Yeah, that's why.
You
Everyone
can
has
tell
a
about the
thing.
trees.
Are you drugs?
Reginald's thing
This is the
written.
same wood as the tavern bits we found downstairs, but not the same wood as the dolls.
Uh-huh. Oh. Okay. Wow.
So Reginald gently takes the scroll case now
Okay.
that he's apparently got that out of his system.
Okay. You have it.
Okay. And you said it was plain on the outside. so no
Correct. Just plain
markings.
wood.
Mhm.
And 2 corks at the end, although one of the corks now has a large gash in it from where a spear was recently removed.
Mhm.
It
You're
was
like-
in a chest that attacked me. Just saying. It must be good stuff.
The chest attacked you.
Yes, with a dagger.
Did you kill it?
They don't usually do that.
You can't kill a dagger.
Did you kill the chest?
My shatter
No.
spell would disagree with you there.
Oh. No, that was all it did. Oh. The chest was in the best room upstairs, which I think might have belonged to the innkeeper's couple that was mentioned before. And it was across a really cool room with hot water tubs, which I suspect is for mermaid guests. There
They'd
was
have to stay
glowing
somewhere.
There's glowing stones in there, and the water was warm.
Warm.
I don't know
Glowing
about anyone
stone.
else, but I could use a nice warm bath.
Maybe not here.
And there is another.
good
There,
point.
there was another staircase going upstairs, but I didn't go there because I wanted to get the scroll to you first.
Was there any more dolls? Weddle's got another one.
Yes, there was a dwarf. There was a dwarf, and are we collecting those now?
Apparently so.
Think so.
I didn't lick this one.
You know what I thought? The dolls are not particularly tall compared to some people who are also of regular size. And if somebody wanted to not have anybody find the dolls, these are small dolls. Why not take all of them with you and, I don't know, burn them? They're small. You can just take all of them.
I was saying it felt like someone might have done this and then put up the sign to stop people finding out.
Yeah, but you could have just taken the dolls.
They could have.
Regina is apparently very excited about having had a good thought and staring at all of you for praise.
That's a really good thought. Very smart. I can tell that you've been reading book on tactics. That's some very good tactical thinking. You're you know better. These idiots, they haven't even taken the dolls with them.
Yes.
But that's what you'd have done. Good
Yes.
tactical thinking.
Yes. I would have taken all the dolls.
Then where's the dwarf?
No, I would have if I would. I have no reason to hide the dolls. Also, the dwarf is not really the dwarf only has a tiny loincloth on, and I didn't want to move it just in case it looked different from behind or something.
Okay.
No offense to dwarves.
Should we look at this
So-
last floor?
So think dolls were people.
Yes. And if that's the case,
Yes.
I was going to be fine with experimenting and maybe trying to bring them to life with thunder spells and shattering them and stuff. But now I know one of them's a dwarf. Can't risk it.
wouldn't be right.
No, we'll have to experiment on the human ones first.
I hold up the scroll case like, I feel like it would be prudent to open this outside, but I want to look at this last floor first.
I can go.
Do you want someone to protect you in case of more attacking chests?
I don't need protection. I'm a warrior. Right,
Fair.
Lump?
Brave warrior, strong
Yes.
sprite.
There we go. But you can still come with me, just in case there's
I
an adventure or
come.
something.
I come get doll.
Okay. I shall lump where the dwarven doll is.
Okay. All right, Lump. And
He'll
you see
still-
that same thing.
Rachel still follows them upstairs.
Okay.
Do you want to see the mermaid room?
Okay.
I show them the mermaid room.
It's very impressive. It is as I have previously described.
And this is the chest. I also show them the
So-
chest.
The stones that were used in them for the room,
Right?
what would I know what they were, like, looking at them? I mean, I'm assuming they're just sort of hot stones, but
Yes.
could you maybe tell how long they've been hot for?
If judging judging on where the rest of the age of the things that have been in the tavern are, a couple of days, 3 days, whatever, they clearly have been in here, I mean, presumably for a few days. And certainly it's a common practice to heat stones and then to put the stones in water to heat the water, but those stones cool off. And very clearly that is not the case. The water is nice and steamy and also clean with a slight glow of purple coming from the stones themselves.
I would like to go to one of the bedrooms and grab a blanket.
Okay, you can do that.
And then, wrapping my hands thoroughly in the blanket, I would like to try and remove one of the stones.
You can do that for sure.
Okay.
And when you
So
pull it
I-
out,
I
it
sti- I
still
st-
has a slight tint of purple.
I stare at Reginald to see if he turns into wood.
You do not. Turns into stone. Haha, jokes on you. It turns into a warm stone. No. Does
He
not.
also most notably doesn't lick the stone.
No, shocker. It was not made of wood, so
Hey, what are you trying to say?
you have a proclivity for licking wood. What can I say? Love you, dude.
You're not gonna lick the nearly naked dwarf, right?
No. No.
Why not?
Oh, speaking of nearly naked dwarves, can I pick them up, please?
Sure.
Well, funnily enough, you see Lump holding this doll almost not like a baby, but like he's protecting it. Like the massive arms are sort of wrapped around. But you've not seen him kind of holding a doll like this before. It's always just sort of been a case of, oh, a doll, okay. But now it's like this might be a person, so I need to protect this.
Is it weird that Huddle's feeling kind of jealous?
This group is not well.
I'm just gonna leave that one open. I'm just gonna leave that one there to air for a bit.
Well, we're definitely reacting weirdly to this strange situation.
Yeah, I would say
Is this how you thought this would go on?
nothing is ever as I expected to go, Mike. I gave up thinking that way a long time ago.
Okay, I'm going to very, very carefully put this doll in my pack. And then
Okay.
I assume Regina's going to head upstairs.
I'm going to wrap that stone and just keep it with me for now.
Okay. You can do that, and you can feel the warmth. It's not boiling, but you can feel the warmth even through the blanket.
Yeah. Something a bit off about it, I feel. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just be carting around a random stone for a long time. We may never find out.
Since Lump is clearly so comfortable holding on to these things, Huddle would like to offer up the one that he's still holding through the shawl by its head. Like,
Yes, I absolutely take that one. There's a weird sort of ritualistic kind of wrapping in a piece of cloth to make sure it doesn't clank against the other one, and then placing it very carefully in my pack.
Okay.
It's like this has gone from being a wooden doll to something incredibly delicate and precious. So I'm gonna put this back. And that's all the ones we've got, isn't it? There's the one outside, which is the cook. We've got the who I assume is like a carpenter from the basement, and the mostly naked dwarf. Correct?
Those are the ones you found so far.
Yeah. Those are the ones we've encountered so far,
That's
and
right.
we've collected them. Okay, cool. Cursed dolls, collect the whole set.
So at this point, you head up to the 3rd floor, I think you were saying?
I assume so, yeah.
Yes, I'm playing upstairs
So
with my spear at the ready.
when you arrive on that 3rd floor, you find that there is what basically looks like a big public sleeping room. There are 12 beds here, but they're not separated by screens or anything like that. They do look to be just as clean as the beds downstairs. They have made blankets and all that kind of stuff, and there is a chest at the foot of each of the beds. And the only other thing that I would mention that's sort of particularly significant here is one, there are a couple of side tables, like, by each of the beds. And one of the side tables you can see has a very obvious piece of paper with writing on it. That's one thing to note. The second thing is that on top of that piece of paper is what looks like a couple of coins, like from here, golden coins, perhaps.
I fly over the beds to see if I can find more dolls, because apparently somebody wants to collect them.
My guess is Regina the only person who's gone up?
Well, Reginald would have followed.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lump and Huedel, are you staying down on the second floor?
I'm probably going to stay on the second floor.
Okay. Or like the second floor or back to the main room, which is on the first floor?
No, just like the bottom of the stairs that
Gotcha.
the other two have
Okay.
just gone up to. 2, potentially 3. I don't know what Weds is doing.
Okay. Yeah, Huedel, are you staying still near Lump or?
Yeah, just ready at a moment's notice to jump in that hammock and
Okay.
be safe.
Okay. So Regina and Reginald on that 3rd floor. Regina, you don't see anything as you're floating, as you're flying over the beds. But when you get to the table, you can see that there is, in fact, that side table in the back does, in fact, have what looks like a letter on it, and there are a couple of coins on top of that. And one thing to note is that one of the coins, so there's 3 coins on it. 2 of the coins basically look to be just like sort of regular, average, everyday copper gold type coins. But the 3rd coin is quite very different, clean and shiny, actually. And it is one of the 3 coins that I mentioned that is sitting on top of this piece of paper.
I fly over the piece of paper and see if it's one of the eviction notices.
It is not. It is not, in fact, an eviction notice. It looks to be a letter. And it is a letter which is written in a kind of, I guess, how would I describe this? Sort of an angular hand, I guess I would say, angular handwriting. No, actually, I take that back. Very curvy handwriting, not angular. It is, but it seems to be, and I'll come back to the importance of that in a moment. Something seems odd about the handwriting to you, but also there are just a few sentences in the letter. And it says, Aunt Ura, please, you can't cut me off. This is my last chance. Your nephew, Branton. Now, I mentioned that the handwriting is odd. The handwriting is identical to the eviction notice handwriting.
Brenton wrote a letter to Urash. I look at the very shiny coin. What is this? I'm not touching it yet because everybody seems to be on edge about touching things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be the one to make the first mistake. So what is the very shiny coin?
Well, for one thing, it is far cleaner and brighter than any of the 2 coins there, or any of the coins that you've seen recently. You know, most of the time, money gets used, and like it has little either dirt, or it's been rubbed or whatever, rubbed clean or whatever, like not clean, rubbed down a little bit, sort of weathered basically. This is not weathered. This looks as if it's like freshly minted. The other thing is, Regina, it matches no currency that you know of. There's strange symbols on it, but it has no it's not the mark of the realm. It's not city currency. It's not. Sometimes people use their own currency outside of the city, but it doesn't seem to fit that either. You have never seen a coin like this before.
Reginald, there is a foreign coin here.
So Reginald's gonna, excuse me, Reginald's gonna come over and have a look at it and not lick it.
Okay, so you're just looking at the coin. I would like you to make a notice test for me, please, Reginald.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's throw another light
He's not
face
licking
at
it
it.
yet. See how this roll goes.
It's from the realm of tastiness.
Exactly. Wow, that looks like a good roll to me.
Okay, I will drop the 4, I think.
So we're looking at a 16, if I'm not mistaken.
16 with a double 3 if that succeeds.
Reginald, there is what sounds like a slight there's a hum, the slightest hum of energy coming from the coin.
I move my head nearer to the coin.
Be careful, it's foreign. It could be
humming.
infected.
Can't you hear it?
I'm listening in. Can I hear it?
Go ahead and make a notice test for me, Regina. You can do this
God.
at +2 since you're being told, hey, guess what?
So it's wits, right?
Yes.
Oh god. Okay.
No, not
12.
You maybe barely-ish, but it's one of those things like, you ever had someone be like, can you hear that? And then you start listening, and then you feel like you're maybe hearing things that aren't there because someone told you. Like, it's sort of like that. You're like, I guess.
Maybe?
Reginald, now that you're this close, I would like you to make a spell casting test here.
Okay.
So this is using insight, would be the aspect.
Okay. So it's going to be +3 and then just general spell casting, no focus. Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So it's going to be just a +3 in that case. Well then.
Wow. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, so what that does is, because it was in a big success, extraordinary success, Reginald, I would like you to make an additional check for me. I want you to make a lore check for me, please. This is difficult, but it wouldn't even have been available to you had you not done that. So this is a lore wits test here.
No focus bonus for the lore?
No, this would be lore and then wits. I would say no, not.
Okay. Alrighty.
Let's see. 5, 4, 5, 14. So are we looking at 18 total?
That's 18 total with a double 5.
You do know something about this, and it was the humming that led you to go closer, that led you to... Reginald, you remember a long time ago when you first took over in your graveyard in the city that you were told about the dangers of not burying people with the items they came with. And specifically, the fact that you don't want to fiddle with artifacts you don't know. And so you gained lots of stories about artifacts and things that are strange and unusual. And in particular, you happen to know about things that are strange and unusual that were created originally by the Great Wizard. In fact, the first adventure we had with this group involved a talisman first created by the Great Wizard before the Great Wizard disappeared. So you remember having heard a vague story about a legendary artifact that was a talisman, a different kind of talisman, but a talisman, believed to have been created by the great wizard to help control staff and servants. It was called the Servant's Coin. And you know also, as part of this legend, that the Servant's Coin was supposed to turn victims who touch it into wooden dolls. In fact, you believe that, as you remember, this coin was activated with drops of blood, and that there was no known cure for those who had been cursed, short of destroying the talisman itself, which is not something easily accomplished.
By the holy... I think I know what this is.
Okay. What
was
is it?
It was created by the great wizard.
So it's valuable.
It's dangerous. Remember the trouble we had with that talisman that got stolen from my graveyard?
Yes, I do.
This is like that. Anyone who touches this is cursed.
With what?
I assume to what's befallen the people here.
So, like, everybody here touched that coin, although it looked foreign?
Possibly. I've only heard stories, such as it's activated by blood and was used to control servants, created by the great wizard himself.
What does it mean? It was activated by blood.
I don't know. I don't look into such things. I have little need for magics like that. I did hear the only possible way to undo what has been done would be to destroy it. Although how we'd achieve that, I don't know.
And then the dolls would suddenly become people?
I'd hope so. But then there's also the matter of transporting it to wherever we would have to go.
Why can we not destroy it here?
I didn't see anywhere that could melt coins down.
Maybe Lump can step on it or something.
No one can touch it.
Well, he's wearing shoes. Is he? Maybe sometimes.
Not sure something the great wizard had created could be so simply destroyed. Might have saved the realm a lot of trouble if it did.
Suddenly you hear from down below. Hello? Niles? Aura? Alette? It's me, Prish. My goodness, this place is a mess. Where in the light is everyone?
Hey, look at Reginald. We could give somebody the scare of their life.
That doesn't seem very nice.
Where is everyone then? Come on, I heard you. You scared this poor boy.
I'll head downstairs.
Okay.
Reginald shouts down, "We'll be down now." So just so the motley party bursting downstairs does not potentially kill someone of fright.
As he kind of runs downstairs. Okay. When you get down to the bottom of the stairs, you find yourself looking at someone that I might have a picture for as I frantically look at my notes. Let's see. Yes, I do. Let me show you a picture of this. Okay. I am going to zoom up. Scroll up, I mean. One of those terms. Okay. All right, let's see if that gives me the picture I need, and then I can put it on Roll20 if it does. No, it doesn't work. Thank goodness for the power of Snipping Tool. That allows me to do the same damn thing, just manually. Okay, so we do that. And then we're going to save that. Okay, so... All right, I'm going to put this image on stream right now. And this is the person that you see coming up right... that. And then down there. There we go. And, okay. And here they are right here. It's the person that you see on the left. He has the fiercest of mustaches, I think I would say. The mutton chops for days type of look, and kind of has this fierce expression, although it does not look like fierce, like he was going to attack or anything like that, but is wearing this outfit that, as you can see, is red and blue. He has a dagger thrust into his belt, and as you sort of look at him, you can see Unwin just kind of standing behind him, sort of peering over, over his shoulder a little bit. And Prish, this character is standing in front of him, and he says, "Well, so who are you?"
Lump. I put a hand out.
And he puts his hand out and he says, "My name's Prish, Captain of the Blessed Storm Dancer, at your service." And he kind of waits as if, and he's like, "Well, haven't you heard of me?"
No. Lump. Lifter of boxes. Hero of Fishburg. One quarter of hero of Fishburg.
That's good. Fishburg definitely is in need of heroes, that's for sure, from what I've heard. What are you doing here?
Something happened here. Find out what with friends.
What?
And Lump kind of takes the cook doll out of his pocket, and there's a very gentle kind of motion of, look at this.
Look at this?
Yes, look at this.
This is this was not the doll, but this is, my wife has just completed from our trip to Gen Con, the Baby Yoda Grogu.
That's amazing.
The child, basically.
That's amazing.
She could only call it the child. Right, so
That's
that is the child.
amazing.
With,
Is that crochet?
This is, no, this is knitted, not crocheted.
Just knitted.
So that is knitted, and that is pretty good. Congratulations.
That's outstanding.
I'm definitely not a professional, but this is my third project.
The third project, but it's very good. So we've got that
It's
going
really
on.
good. It's really good. Like the ears are like symmetrical and everything. Like it looks proportional and everything. That's impressive.
So compliments have come from the folks online, etc. So she says thank you. So that, however, is not the doll that you saw. And he says, "Their problems. Well, this is pretty much my home base. I'm good friends with Niles and Ora. Unwin just said something about the tavern being closed and you people being inside. So, what do you mean? What's happened then?"
So Lump basically gets all the three dolls that he has in his pack and sort of has them. Presumably they will all fit because his hands are massive, right?
Mhm.
Presumably they'll all fit in his hands. He just sort of offers them to Presh. It says like, bad thing happen. People here suffer.
Oh, and he kind of picks up the doll and looks at it and is like, "This is terrible. Why? I don't understand. They're good people. Who'd want to... Well, there was 3 nights ago, there was a dark-haired young man who was arguing with Ura about money or something. He seemed like a shifty fellow. I was happy to see her hold her ground. He kept asking her for money, and she said no, and finally he left in a huff, and he threw this single coin on the floor to pay for his meal. I had a bad feeling about the boy. There was a gleam in his eyes I've seen before. There's a look of a spiteful mind plotting his revenge. But it was family business. Didn't seem right to get involved. But I regret that decision now. It sounds like cursed magic is involved. Did you find anything here that didn't belong? Something that stood out besides these dolls?"
So Reginald's coming down just at the tail end of that conversation, I'd say.
Just as Reginald's coming down, Lump just wants to say, young man named Branton.
Branton. I think that's... I
Family
don't know him well.
business.
Yeah. I think he's... Well, Ura and Niles know him, I think.
Nephew, Unwin say nephew, Niles Ura.
Oh, and he looks back at Unwin, and Unwin nods. And he says, his nephew. I see. Well, if it's the same one, and that nephew was a bad sort. And go ahead, Reginald. I think you would just come down.
Yeah. So, excuse me again, sorry. So, well, whatever he was up to, he's got hold of something of great power that's cursed this place. It's pretty much uncurable unless we can figure out how to destroy this artifact. It is, as you said, if I heard correctly, a coin.
You seen it then?
I've seen it. I heard it, the hum of the power, and then I remembered a story I heard over my many years tending graves. You learn to know a thing or two about objects of power and the disposal of them so that they may not be disturbed.
Yeah.
This one needs to be disposed of, but it also cannot be touched without cursing.
He kind of nods and he says, it's a bad business. There's only one place around here that I know that can break curses, though. One place strong enough to destroy the things that make 'em. And he kind of jerks a thumb over his shoulder and he says, my job's to ferry people over the Storm River. And if we can, I can bring you to that temple. They won't do it for free, but the temple's where you break curses and destroy artifacts. If you're gonna save those people, we've got to take that coin. And he kind of takes a step back and looks at Unwin, who's kind of like, and looks at all of you, and he says, and no matter what it takes, you'll have to bring it with us if you're gonna destroy it.
Agreed. There was also the matter of this, and I hold up the scroll case, which we still hadn't opened. I wanted to open this outside, just to be on the as a precaution.
And so he nods and he sort of gestures as if like, you can go outside or whatever.
Yeah. So we're going to bring it outside. Just wait a moment for everyone else to decide what they're going to do.
Okay.
Which might be just watch me disappear in a flash.
Well, I'm gonna come outside. I'm not gonna stand too close to you when you open this. I'm gonna go outside.
What about you, Huedel and Regina?
I keep an eye on that Prish guy. Because he's a human.
Can't trust them. Yeah.
So this coin, people have been saying around, artifact or whatever. Has anyone used the word talisman to describe it? Yeah. Out loud.
No, I compared it to a talisman, but I haven't outright stated I believe it to be a talisman because that can put thoughts in people's heads.
Yeah. Huedel has an idea of how it can be carried, but he's all right to watch you open a scroll first.
Gets to like entertainment first. So Reginald is like he's holding it as very far away from his head, and he's only got hold of the cork facing away from him, and he's going to try and pull it like that.
Okay. So when you do that, the cork pops off with no, boop. Just that makes the sound of an opening scroll case. Nothing else happens.
Pauses for a moment. It's like.
And there is indeed there is a rolled up scroll within it, or rolled up something.
He's gonna reach inside and attempt to extract that.
Yeah, he can get that out with no problem. It's not that old actually, and if you unroll it, I don't know if you do, but it says on the top, the last will and testament of Niles and Ura Murdo. And as you look down, it sort of lists out being of sound mind and body, we, the undersigned, blah, 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 blah. But the points that are most important is that it says that in the event that the Murdos were to die, the tavern is to be given to the employees Illet, Mildred, and Unwin. And then at the bottom, beyond that, there is a little sort of addendum note, which says that under no circumstances is Branton intended to receive any funds at all from the proceeds of the Murdo's passing. And
Well, I believe this clears up matters somewhat.
And Prish kind of reads it sort of over your shoulder a little bit and, that's what I said. Family business then. It's bad. That's a bad business. If Branton's done this, then he's got to be found. But more important, these people have got to be helped.
I give Reginald a bit of a sort of rib thud, if that makes sense, and thumb towards Unwin.
Reginald rolls a death save.
Okay.
No. Well, the only other thing I know about this coin is it's sometimes been referred to as a talisman.
Oh, what, mate?
He said the name of the game.
Mic drop.
Did you just say it's a talisman? There's a talisman here.
It's been referred to as one. There's different types. We've had dealings with one in the past. I was
Well,
charged
I
with...
blinking well haven't. Where is it? Show it to me. Come on. Chop chop. Let's go. Let's go. Where's
I
this blinking
lead
talisman
Huddle
then?
back up to the coin.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, do not touch it.
Without touching the coin, Huddle would like to attempt to the best of his not amazing abilities in this matter, try and see some evidence that this coin was not made by some magical wizard man who may or may not have existed, but instead good, hard dwarven labor that the elves have erased from history with their fake book of fake stories of the wizard man.
So you're doing all the. I want to be clear that you're doing all this while looking at the coin. Like, how do I make a looking test to determine the things that you've just suggested?
He's looking for anything in the design of the coin that could look even vaguely dwarven. He is looking with a complete and utter bias. He's not really looking for the facts. He is looking for evidence of his own bias.
There is not any obvious thing which would suggest that this was dwarven manufacture, at least not any that you are familiar with. Although perhaps a closer physical examination of the coin might provide that benefit, but at least just by looking at it, you do not see anything that would suggest that. You are completely unfamiliar with the markings of it. It is as if it is from another age, let alone, another minting or something.
All right. So I got good news and bad news. Good news. God, I've been looking for ages for a talisman, so this is nice. Bad news. There's no way we can destroy this. We have to take it to some dwarven scholars to ascertain its origins.
We have to save these people.
Do we though?
The sharp elbow in Wes's ribs from Rump. Save people.
All right, fine.
People first.
all right.
Talisman later.
All right, fine. I tell you what. He's got some sheets of paper and pencils and different things. Can he lay a sheet of paper over it, take a little etching of the top of the coin, and then turn it over with a couple of pens and do the same on the other side, so we've got a relief of both on a piece of paper, so at least he's got the design and size noted.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd like to get another piece of paper, fold it up into like a little envelope and poke the coin inside,
Okay.
and then give it to someone else to hold.
Okay. That was very, and then give it to somebody else. Okay, who are you giving it to?
Who wants to hold the talisman?
Ooh. One takes a step back.
You
Bad
need to
magic.
put it in something.
Bad magic.
Like a satchel or something.
Hmm.
All right, I'll put it in the
Reginald's
safest place I know. He puts it inside the little hole thing inside his kurth, his kruth.
Okay.
That's gonna screw with the acoustics.
It's gonna rattle. And so you do all of that, and Prish then says, "All right, if you're all done with what you need to do, let's get this thing destroyed. The blessed storm dancer's waiting. The river is as fierce as ever, but we'll get across it if we have to. If you come with us, we'll get to the temple, and we'll destroy that thing, and maybe save these people." And assuming
Fine.
the party is mostly agreeing, although I don't know if Regina is or not. But
I'll go outside to the stable boy and ask him if he knows this guy.
oh yeah, Prish is here all the time. Actually, he's good man. He ferries people back and forth. He's actually taken me over once to the city, and he knows what it's through the temple. And I just wanted to look at it from the outside, as you might say. The Storm River is dangerous, but no one's better at crossing it than Prish.
Was he friends with the owners, as he says?
Yes, they were pretty good friends, actually.
Okay.
That's why I let him in.
He was not on the letter, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I'm sorry about that. That's true. The letter. Well, Prish was... he's a friend. I trust him, so I hadn't thought about that. Sorry.
I fly back to Reginald.
Lump walks up to Prish and his fantastic moustache and places a very large hand on his shoulder, and just with a very sort of kind face. Obviously, he's aware that Lump has these 3 dolls in his satchel. He goes, he leans into Prish and goes, "You friends with owners of Tavern?"
Aye, for a long time, actually.
People need saving. Bad magic happen.
Aye, and not just for these people, but for everyone this tavern's helped.
So you help us help people, right?
Aye, that's what I'll do. I'll bring you across the river at no charge if I can.
If not, if bad, and Urash sort of points a big muscular finger into Prish's chest. If bad, you die. I pull apart. And Lump sort of slaps him on the shoulder.
Ugh.
And there's a smile.
And he backs up. He's like, "Well, I think we understand each other then. Don't fear. I won't do anything that could harm either of you.
Good.
Except, that is, to bring you over the river. That's harmful enough."
There's a very soft pat onto the satchel that holds the dolls. Help people, don't die.
And Prish sort of nods with a thoughtful expression. And I would say, as you all sort of head with Prish off towards his boat, the Blessed Storm Dancer, we get a moment where, and Unwin, by the way, is going to accompany you on this, I should have mentioned.
I'm also, just really quickly,
sure.
I'm also going to grab the cook, the other doll that we had outside as well.
Yeah, so you have all 3. You have 3 of the dolls, right?
Is that,
It's basically,
that's all
you have the
3,
3
isn't
that
it?
you
Yeah.
found, yeah. So, and as you're making your way, I think that we would look back at the tavern doors, which have been closed, and the kind of receding in the background as the party progresses. But probably, Weddle, in your instrument as you walk along, you can hear resonating with the strings a slight hum, which is being picked up resonantly by the strings. And perhaps those feelings of the strings and the vibration feels just slightly like it's maybe pulling up the hairs on your arms as you walk. And that's where we're going to bring our session to a close for this night. Yes, exactly. Good stuff, folks. That is the way to do it. And by the way, that was the end of Act 1 of this adventure. Act 2 is called The Tithe at the Temple. So we will see how that stuff goes. I did not actually know that it was going to get quite this creepy. I wasn't actually planning on it being that way, but everyone was just very much invested in the, like, this is freaky. This is even freakier. And I was like, well, it's time to lean into the freak then, because it was fun to watch everyone going through that. And we will see what happens as you try to solve this situation with the dolls. I also was not expecting that Reginald was basically going to get the Google search, check of like, I know everything ever about this thing. That was also a pretty impressive series of checks. But I will start at the bottom of the column and work up, starting, of course, with Bruce. Yeah, good stuff today, Bruce. Again, I was not trying to pick on you, but I love the way that both Weddle and your own sort of like disturbing doll thing was kind of coming together in this. I was really trying not to crack up too much because I didn't want to break the mood, but the moment where Weddle's like, right, I'm going to go in there because that letter definitely says me, like the reading of the letter and then the making up stuff on the letter and then followed by now I have to go in there because I'm on the letter was really, really funny. And it led to some really tense moments, I think, where people were like, what is going on with the doll? So that was a nice moment in terms of how it provided for chat, although I apologize if it freaked you out unnecessarily. How did you feel about the session today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I definitely, when it comes to scary things or anything even remotely scary in my head, I, as a person, I couldn't separate myself from Weddle in that moment. So I went downstairs. I was just, getting a glass of water, letting the dog out for a bit of a wee or whatever. Heard a sound. I think my back door's still open. I don't even care. I'm not going back down there. It's going to be open all night.
Yep.
But yeah, it was really, really fun. And I think Weddle's going to take a turn for the worse in this section of the campaign. I just hope that the rest of you can hold him back. And I'm still on an ADSL connection,
Oh,
so
man.
I'm still not doing anything. Yeah, it's been almost 6 months now since I moved house, and I'm still on like 3 megabytes.
Are they still promising you that's going to change? Haven't they promised before, like, oh yeah, we're going to bring in new, or is that not happened, or like?
No, it's all right. I'm going to get gigabit internet sometime between now and 2026.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
So, worst case scenario, I only have to wait another 4 years.
Oh.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
No.
It's
This
a
is so
slow
typical.
burn, but
I know
it's
this
worth
kind
it.
of letter. Please stay home because we're gonna come here and connect your internet between now and 2026.
Yeah.
This is like typical.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, when we got fiber installed in my house last year, and when the ones I had previously, which was Optimum, have been sending just like the flood of letters like, hey, we have really fast internet now. I'm like, not as fast as fiber, you don't. And you can tell they're just like, but wait, we also have fast internet. Please don't leave. So I was just like, nope. Oh man, I feel badly for you. That sucks. That sucks a lot. Oh man, but thank you, Bruce. And hopefully, at least your internet's good enough that you can be appropriately creeped out, among your friends here and stuff as part of it. But thank you for good stuff. Where can the folks find you, by the way, just on the internets, if they need to find you?
Oh yeah, mostly I lurk on Twitter at Bruce Only Bruce. It is now 100% a Greyhound account. I just post photos of my dog. So
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Yep, reasonable. Yeah, when you left, I don't think you heard this, but when your dog followed you downstairs, Pyron is just like, a black dog follows you downstairs. And like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Saber was like, or Mike was like, and Bruce doesn't own a dog.
Bruce doesn't own a dog.
Bruce doesn't, it was, doesn't own a dog.
Plot
we
twist.
were
Bruce
all
doesn't
just
own a
kind of like, yep, it totally fits. Yeah, Kilgore, I noticed the moving for internet. I know you know that feel. But thank you, Bruce. Always a pleasure. Good stuff today. We will see you for our next session of this game. Moving right on up the line. Mike, I liked Lump's approach there, which is just sort of like the enforcer. Like, if you're going to mess around with us, you're going to pay that stuff that we had with Prish. But also the idea that, there's a very distinctive feeling about what needs to be solved. I was also cracking up at the Weddle being like, do we really need to save them? And then Lump with the massive elbow, like, save people, stop.
Save
like,
people first.
that was great. Plus the whole Master Blaster thing has been fun. And it'll be interesting to see how Lump approaches all of this, including dealing with the temple and other stuff that is to come. You have to get to the temple first. But dealing with curses is something which seems to be in the line of what this party has been doing lately. And here you have another one of these curses to manage. So it's fun to watch Lump coming to terms with all that. How'd you feel about the session today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I loved it. I always love these sessions. I think it's really nice just to be able to escape from anything that may be going on in my life right now. So it's done wonders for my mood. I know I'm going to be tired. It's like 12:30 at night and I've got work at like 6 a.m. So it's going to be a rough day tomorrow, but I know even though I'm going to be tired, I'm going to think to myself, but God, what a session last night. Like, what a game. Like, that was so worth it. So I'm always pleased, and I'm always glad to play with you guys. It was really funny seeing Lump and Weddle kind of interact with each other, because secretly what we were doing is when Weddle went into the tavern, we were figuring out a safe word. So like, if Weddle got in trouble, Weddle would shout cucumbers, and then Lump would.
I thought you were going to say doll or something.
No, barrel through the door, like splinters going everywhere.
Yep, Kool-Aid Man style,
like,
yeah.
And just be like, oh yeah, it's just like in Grey Mist, right? Or it's just like in The City when we did that thing, right? Like, it's this whole backstory that we're not quite revealing yet, but we're sort of making up as we go along, which I really like. But yeah, I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for the next Talisman session. I am loving all of the character developments and all of the sort of anecdotes and all of the chemistry that's going on. We always have good chemistry. It's your sessions. Whenever you run a session, I've been watching, because of work I've done with you, whenever I've watched sessions that you run, you have good chemistry between your players. And it's a really, really nice thing to see. And you can see other streams online where it's like, it's people who are trying desperately to have chemistry and interact with each other, and it just feels so forced. And just here, it just feels very organic and very natural. And just, I don't know.
Well, that's all you people doing that. My job is to bring you all in the same room.
I don't know, man. It's one of the things I would say is one of the best ways I describe this is when I'm in this stream, it feels like I'm in a room full of old friends, and that's. When I come out of this, it's like, oh, I've had a really nice catch up with Saber and Pyron and Arv and Bruce, and it's been really nice, and that kind of tops up my sort of mental battery for a week or a couple of weeks or something like that. So that's, I don't know. And obviously chat as well. Chat has a massive impact in this as well. So everyone who's obviously offered positive comments, all this sort of stuff, everyone who's interacted, absolutely fantastic. Anyone who's lurked, absolutely fantastic. So I don't know. I'm leaving with a very wholesome feeling right now. So yeah, thank you for that. If you want to find out more about myself, like I said, I am trying to cobble together streaming at the moment. You can find me at Peripheral Mike at most places on the internet, but because of depression and other mental health issues, I'm not on social media right at this moment. But when I am, obviously that's where you would find me.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mike. And as always, I really appreciate the kind words being said to everybody, because it's really helpful, and I'm glad. It always makes me feel good to hear stuff like that. Moving right on up the line, Saber, great stuff from Reginald today, and again, like, some of those checks were like no joke, man. Like, it's just you took some of the heat from the field and you just transferred them to your dice, just like, hum, check. It was pretty wild. So good work. I was impressed with that. Did you freeze?
Oh, something's just. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can.
Oh yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
For a minute, you were just like, I was like, oh no.
It went the whole stream without doing that, and then it did it.
All of a sudden it stopped it. But anyway, yeah, so those checks were really epic, and you had some big moments as a result. And again, there's plenty of story left and mystery to be revealed, so I'm not worried about it. But it was just like, you were like, check, and then even more difficult check. And I was just like, okay, well, guess what? You happen to have heard things. And I will say that of the 4, it made sense to me that you, because of your connection with talismans, because of what we talked about with the wizard's talismans, the other things you found, like one of the things you learn going through this is that the great wizard was not a great guy. Like the great wizard was just powerful. Like sometimes he did good stuff, sometimes bad stuff, but he wasn't some awesome dude. This is not Gandalf. Like this is some just I'm powerful because I'm powerful. And so some of that stuff comes through, reflected in some of the things that are left behind. So it was fun sort of seeing you react to that story. And then also, of course, the continual licking of the wood to make sure we know what kind of wood is what. That led to all sorts of funny jokes in chat and elsewhere. So that was good times. And it'll be interesting to see how Reginald handles things as the main sort of one of the main magic people, at least in terms of kind of understanding the natural effect of things. It'll be interesting to see how that plays as you cross a river and prepare to deal with the temple. How'd you feel about the session today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
I think I agree with everyone else in that it was surprisingly creepy, especially when you started putting emphasis on the dolls having like closed eyes and things like that. Because it's like everyone's just waiting for the ding moment.
Well, it was the back to the door that I was proudest of, because like no. Like, we've all seen this movie, and no.
It's like, yeah, me the person's just like no. But Reginald probably would have been a bit more like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Just because of his nature and how he is, he's just a little. He's not as emotional as the person pretending to be him.
That's right.
But yeah, there's the funny moments like the running joke with the licking. I actually do like that because I've done it before with Reginald, where sometimes he's used boots for something and sort of exhibited a couple of dog-like traits for a while afterwards. Like, I think we were trying to track someone in the woods a few sessions ago, and he actually got down on all fours and was like sniffing the ground to try and figure it out. So I kind of like that idea that he sometimes shares that links with boots where there's a bit of bleed through with the connection, which is it gives you some fun moments. Like, I'm going to lick all these things to try and determine what they are.
Definitely.
Dogs will try and taste anything.
That's quite true. That is the major sense that they use, that and scent and smell to determine the world. And by the way, Boots. Got looking at Bruce, thinking it was when Boots goes through the wall and looks around and then just brings back. You think there are some dolls? Like, what? There are what? And so it's great that Boots is the first one to reveal some strange, wooden statues here, and you're like, wait, whoa, no, that's really bad.
Yeah, and then opening the scroll because it's arms fully away from me. It's just like, I'm not taking any chances. I was expecting, I don't know what, poison gas, something. Just didn't trust it.
Nah, just a last will and testament. It's fine.
But yeah, all around really, really good session. I'm definitely, the big question to me is, how did someone like him get an artifact like that? That's the sort of big thing I've got going through my head right now that I'm going to be looking forward to and trying to get to the bottom of, as well as rescue the people. But this is a powerful artifact to end up in the hands of someone so petty.
Yep.
Really, being used for such a petty means. It's an interesting hook that I like to follow the thread on. But until then, I will be back here tomorrow. I haven't decided what game I'm going to be playing yet, but I'm going to be getting back into streaming again this week now after my holiday. Hopefully I'll be a bit less tired again tomorrow, just recovering. And I should be back on my channel on Thursday with another game to be decided. Probably a lot less licking involved, though.
Probably with some less licking. Either way, it was memorable regardless, and it's going to be fun seeing how things are managed. Next, I will see you next week for that, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Reginald handles things with Talisman too. Also, I love the fact that you picked up immediately the temple, and you're like, yes, it's the middle region, yes. Like we all know the drill. But thanks, Saber, good stuff, and thank you again for all the stuff at Dashboard, etc. Last but certainly not least, Pyron Regina, again, I love the idea of the tactics. There was a funny moment too where Weddle is just going on about like, oh, listen, that was these other idiots, but you're super smart with your books and everything. And you're like, yes, indeed I am. But also the idea that Regina also now has to understand, first of all, dealing with, is Prish a risk or not? But also was definitely not scared, but was just like, nothing here is good. Like Regina was just kind of like, this is bad. This also seems really bad. This also seems kind of scary and bad. Let's check out the other things. So in Regina's case, it didn't feel, to me anyway, like, excuse me, so much like fear as it felt just more like this is not, none of this is good. Like none of this is positive, that this seems like there are going to be more problems. And then a human gets involved. Well, that, now there goes the neighborhood, basically. So it was fun to see that. And I'm going to be interested to see how Regina manages things going forward with a potentially cursed item in the party being carried and how all that will go through. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
As always, I loved the session. And yeah, well, Regina has like really, really low stats on things like notice and wits. And sometimes you have to notice things to be scared
by them. That's a good call.
Because then you figure out that something is off. And Regina is was more weirded out by Reginald licking things because she knew this is off.
Yes.
Then the whole wooden doll thing because like nobody really gave an explanation for this, and so she was like, yeah, okay, yeah, well, apparently we're gonna check this out. I see. And she also didn't want to appear like really stupid because apparently maybe everybody was knowing something and didn't didn't say something. But she has questions like, where did the innkeepers go? Where did Brenton go? Where is all the other people? What is this all? Nothing like really makes sense, but she hopes for more things becoming clear very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. She's also not sure how she feels about ships. She's never been on a ship.
Oh, yeah. The crossing of the Storm River is going to be fun. We're going to start with that next time, chat, on Talisman.
Yeah. And gonna see me again. It's like 2 weeks on a Tuesday for D&D with GAG. But then Dungeons and Dragons, actually. So Ghost of Saltmarsh, I think.
Is it 2 weeks or 1 week? Might be.
Could be 1 week. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like.
I've got this. It's in my calendar. I'm not gonna miss it.
It is officially, I believe, 1 week.
1 week.
1 week. Next
Even
week.
better. Even better. So next week, this place. I really currently can't commit to any regular streaming slot, although I feel like I should stream. Streaming would be fun. Maybe I should stream me learning Magic the Gathering on my own channel. Because maybe people would find that funny. I don't know. So I'm thinking about streaming, but I'm currently not doing it. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Thanks, Byron. Good stuff. And yes, you should totally do that. That would be a super cozy stream to just chill to you doing magic stuff. But that, chat, is going to do it for this wonderful crew. You will see Pyron, Saber, and Peripheral Mike next week for some Ghosts of Saltmarsh, along with Ananda, of course. But you will see Undeveloped Bruce back with us the following month as we get back into some more Talisman, where we have officially set up, I think, some juicy tension for people to resolve going forward. So, chat, can we get some love for our wonderful players? Thank you so much, as always, to Pyron, to Saber, to Peripheral Mike, and to Undeveloped Bruce. Good work today, players, and I will see you folks soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, that was a lot more like Halloween early than I was expecting. Like, we're still in summer, y'all. I'm not getting down into we're not on Halloween time. I have not yet transitioned into playing some Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. Like, I have not, none of that. Or it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, I should say. I haven't done any of that yet. Like, we still have the rest of summer to get through. I'm not even back at school yet. So let's slow our roll here just a little bit. But no, it's really, I really had a good time today with these wonderful players. And yeah, it's exciting to see folks getting into the feel of something that you set up. As I said, it was meant to be somewhat, creepy. I just didn't think it was going to be that creepy. And then as we got into it and it was clear that they were finding it more creepy, I was like, well then, let's ride this horse. I mean, like, let's go. So it was awesome to see them really experiencing it in a positive way. And so there's going to be more of that, and there will be more where that came from next week, actually, not from this campaign, but with more D&D, because we'll have Ghosts of Saltmarsh coming up next week on this channel. As I said, I was gone for a couple of weeks at Gen Con, traveling to and from, but I'm back now, so we'll be doing that. We've got more stuff going on my channel as well. We are going to have, coming up on Friday, we have a special joint event of Twitch and my Speculate podcast, which I co-host with authors Mike Underwood and Brendan O'Brien, as we are going to be doing for the first session of actual play in Valoword, which is a Court of Blades game. If you would like to see basically a game with lots of political intrigue and back and forth and court battles and that sort of thing, not justice court, I mean like court as in Renaissance style court, a kingly court, then you're definitely going to want to stop by for this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be on my channel on Friday evening. And then we have possibly, we're still working out either Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks or D&D with Infinity and Beyond Eberron on my channel as well. And you're going to have Saber back here tomorrow, so that's going to be a good time. So I'm going to rise up on out of here. If you like what you saw and heard, please follow us here on GogCom's Twitch channel. Please make sure to check out as well and subscribe to our channel. That is very much appreciated. And please consider clicking through and subscribing to and doing all that cool stuff for all of our individual channels as well, because that's something which helps all the streamers when you're able to do stuff like that for all of us. But as for me, I'm going to rise up on out of here. Thank you all so much for being here. And again, Darksaber will be back with you tomorrow, and I will be back on my own channel at the end of the week. But until then, please, as I always say, everyone be good to each other, and I'll catch you folks soon. Thanks, everybody. Thank you also to Pegasus Spiele for sponsoring this campaign of Talisman Adventures, and we'll be back soon. Until then, everyone be good to each other. Bye for now.